Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Hollywood After Dark. It is, of course, November 22nd, 2022. Today, we're going to be talking about Quentin Tarantino straight up not giving a fuck about anything. Love him, hate him, he don't fucking care. That's the Tarantino we know, the Tarantino we love, good, bad, or the other. We're going to be talking about some Soups drama, as well as all the craziness going on in Hollywood today. So get ready for a fun hour of Hollywood conversation. Hollywood After Dark. Let's fucking go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you guys doing? Welcome to the party. Welcome to the show. Like I said, it is, of course, the 22nd of the month. We're getting, man, fucking Thanksgiving is like 2 days away. And it doesn't even feel like it at all. I don't even, I'm going to do family stuff. So that's going to be good. You know, we secured our plans and everything else. But man, it still feels weird that the holidays are here. You know, there's not a lot going on Christmas movie wise, I guess. I mean, there's Spirited. There's the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special that drops. I can't even tell you if it's tonight, tomorrow, Thanksgiving. I don't even know. Hell, I was just, I'm a little bit late because my kid is still not feeling very well. And I was giving her some cough medicine and they were watching something on Netflix and the end credits were on and Slumberland came out. I thought that came out this week. I didn't know Slumberland already came out because I've seen absolutely no one talking about it. And that is just how it is these days, right? There's so much either happening or not happening. Who knows? It just gets crazy. And then, of course, it's very interesting to see what exactly is going to be going on. All right. So what is going on with the chat tonight? You guys out there, what's tonight's stream about? I don't even know, man. I don't even know. What leak got me spooked? I don't even know what you're talking about, Jay. But I did, for those of you guys who check out the channel, I did a couple standalone videos today. There was obviously the drama involving James Gunn and Mikey Sutton, and James Gunn absolutely BTFOing Mikey. You guys can check that video out. Also, the rumor about Kathleen Kennedy finally exiting Star Wars after 10 years, that rumor happening. There's all that stuff. We can take your questions on that as well, chit-chat about that stuff. But, of course, diving into literally whatever else there. So I see Wayne T-Car. Yeah, right. I don't think that's actually Wayne T-Car in the chat. I would think though. I think so. Let's see. Scrooge or Christmas Vacation? I'm going to go with Christmas Vacation, man. Obviously. Garrick here asking, so is Mikey Sutton as credible as Mike Zero? No, Mike Zero literally just makes stuff up. All right. He just literally makes stuff up. Mikey, at least, I think, he looks at the landscape and kind of decides like Occam's razor, like the simplest explanation is the most truest. So he just throws whatever he can at the wall to see what sticks. And that's just my take on it until proven otherwise. I'm sorry. I just, after getting BTFO today, it was pretty funny. Spider-Man Gaming says here, Mikey was putting words in James Gunn's mouth. He really wasn't. He really wasn't putting words in his mouth. What he was, if you watch my video, you'll see that he literally invented a word, right? He invented a word, which I thought was really interesting, where in regards to, you know, his tweet, he says, like, in the headline of the article is Henry Cavill's new contract. All right. Well, we know that there's been no contract that's been done. Like, we know this, right? So him saying that, but never once in the body, in the context of the article, saying that there was a contract. And even the article he referenced from Small Screen never once said the word contract. And in the video that he referenced, contract was mentioned once, but as a rumor. And again, given absolutely no in-depth speculation, it was simply just a word that was used. It was just cannon fodder for the first 5 seconds of the video. He literally manufactured a word, which is why James Gunn came out and said there's been no contract signed yet. So I always found that to be really funny because it just shows you like how shifty and very, very, very deceptively or decisively deceptive Mikey Sutton can be, which really does give a bit of a credence to that Better Business Bureau article about him in the music business there. Anyway, Let's see. Garrick says here, when KK leaves, Doomcock will act like he was right all along. Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. You know, he's been saying it now for like, what, 6 years, I think. And then when it finally happens, I was right. No. You were saying she was going to be fired any day now. You were saying she was going to be fired imminently. You were saying all of these things that were going to be happening. That never happened. And it's not to say that people out there aren't really hoping that they do. Because like Star Wars has had 3 years now without a movie. It was Bob Iger himself who put the kibosh on feature films. You figure one of the most prolific, if not the most prolific female producer in Hollywood would have been able to get it off the ground in that period of time. Really makes you question just what the F is going on there over at Disney. Now, I have a feeling, if you want my honest take on that, and I didn't really touch upon this in the video because it's I put a lot of stuff together and then I just kind of go with it. What I think possibly happened with Kathleen Kennedy is it was really it was all about Disney Plus. It wasn't even really about the movies. It was all about Disney Plus. That's what I think that they were going for. I think that they were like, look, we're going to put a pause in the movies. We're going to rebuild the fan base over on Disney Plus, and then we're going to put out a movie. But the movies that they chose, the Rogue Squadron, the Taika Waititi movie, those seem to be having a few issues. There's also like Sean Levy's in talks to direct one. A couple other projects have fallen through. I mean, like the Acolyte's filming right now. Andor season 2 is filming right now. Mandalorian season 3 news drops next week at Brazilian Comic-Con. You've got, like Mando season 3 dropping itself early next year. There's a lot going on with all that, and that's going to be pretty cool. But I still think that they probably ended up putting the pause in Star Wars, and it just like, it's one of those things where it's like, once you hit the stop button, getting it started again is so fundamentally difficult, especially when a lot of their resources within a company are spread to content created for Disney Plus. Think about it. In the 3 years since we got a movie, we had season 1 of Mandalorian, season 2 of Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Andor. That's 5 live action shows. Never mind season 7 of Clone Wars, Tales from the Jedi, Star Wars Visions, The Bad Batch season 1. I mean, that's 9 overall products that have come out for Star Wars on Disney Plus since the launch of Disney Plus, which also happens to coincide with the last movie when it came out. There is so much that they've just kind of fundamentally dropped the ball on with that in regards to theatrical, that they're going to have a little bit of trouble getting it going, which is why, man, this is my take on this. I really think someone like fucking Tony Gilroy should absolutely run with that. You know what I mean? Like, bring him in to do a lower budget movie, character driven, drama thriller in Star Wars to reinvigorate shit before we dive into something that's pretty massive there. Moisture for $2. Thank you, buddy. Says, I think KK will wait her contract out through 2024. I think Indiana Jones is going to be it, man. I think she's gonna exit after Indiana Jones. Let me explain why. I think I might have mentioned this in my video as well. She had worked, her very first film production role was as a writer's assistant on Spielberg's 1942. And it was there that she met Steven Spielberg. And it was there that Spielberg took a liking to her and brought her on as his personal assistant when they did Raiders of the Lost Ark. So she was his assistant throughout all of Raiders. She was an associate producer on Temple of Doom. I think she was an associate producer on The Last Crusade, but she had also co-founded Amblin Entertainment with Frank Marshall, her husband, and they had built up a whole thing with that. So she is intimately involved with not only George Lucas, but Steven Spielberg and that whole cadre of filmmakers. There's literally no other female producer anywhere near her level of bona fides, which really, really makes me question what in the hell happened with Lucasfilm. And I have a thought about that. And my thought about that boils down to the idea that like when she was working on these movies, she was just working on movies before then. She was working with a bunch of different producers, directors, writers, whatever, but she would be, the linchpin bringing all this stuff together. Now she's overseeing a company with whom her predecessor did not even want to run, because Lucas didn't want to run Lucasfilm. He wanted to be a creative. He didn't want to be bogged down by the day-to-day. And so she gets brought in to do this as a personal favor to her friend, to oversee his greatest creation, and to also work with the the franchise that she started with, which was Indiana Jones, and something that's very near and dear to her heart. And I think she wanted to get I think if Indiana Jones 5 would have been done before now, she would have already been out the door. She just wanted to make sure that this movie was going to be good and was going to happen before Harrison Ford died. I think that ultimately became her primary thing for everything. I think that was her primary driving force for all of this. And as a result of that, when it's over, when it's done, I think she's gonna bail. I think Hamada kind of like laid the groundwork for that, like get the movie out, get the movie done, pick up a successor. And in the process, Iger can find somebody else to come on in and take over. And that would also work well with trying to reinvigorate the trust in the brand for theatrical movies by bringing in someone not directly associated with, The Last Jedi, Solo, and The Rise of Skywalker. Not to say that I love Solo. I'm okay with The Rise of Skywalker. Still don't like The Last Jedi. But, you can't argue against those films' success. I think that's absolutely something that's there. But anyway, thank you for that one there. Reed here with $10, man. Thank you so much. Says, me and my brother are going to see Spirited tomorrow since he hasn't seen it. Then me and my family are going to watch Black Panther 2 tomorrow. It will be fun. Nice, man. That's a good movie day. I think I'm just going to do Andor finale with my family and then maybe check out Slumberland. It's going to be a chill day. I'll probably go out doing delivery driving tomorrow night because the day before Thanksgiving is actually a really busy night to people. You think it's kind of funny, right? The day before Thanksgiving, people order a lot of food because they're at home making the food, so they don't want to make it for dinner. They're making it for the next day. It's a hustle. It's an absolute hustle. But thank you very much for that, Reed. Really appreciate it. Now Ralph here says, just do KOTOR already if they want the fans and money back, dude. Come on, think about it for a second, right? KOTOR is an amazing story, but they have to go through BioWare and EA and all that jazz to be able to make it work. And then also, if they fuck up Revan, that's going to anger a lot of fans, right? Like, that's the whole problem here. Now, Dar Scipio says, I think Lucasfilm doesn't know where to go with Star Wars films. They are creatively bankrupt. See, I disagree with that. But the problem, what you have to think about here is not that they don't know where to go with the films. It's that they are kind of beholden to the corporate structure that is Disney. Disney wanted, and this is what Iger did. Iger purchased Lucasfilm for $4.08 billion in 2012, so 10 years ago, immediately announced a new trilogy. So instead of there being like, movies coming once every 3 years, it was going to be, 2015, 2017, 2019. We knew that. They were already plotting these days out. They were already making sure that this is what was going to happen. They brought in J.J. Abrams to set this, to kind of lay the groundwork. And then what happened with that was just Rian Johnson and letting him do what he was going to do, which fundamentally hurt stuff. But I think at the end of the day, one of the biggest facets here, or one of the biggest problems with that, is not that they don't know where to go. I think there's two things with that. One is like, they are concerned with where to go because I think they are afraid of fan backlash. They found out that with, Rogue One, that did really well with fans being an origin story. Give us more Andor. Andor is having trouble getting its footing with a lot of people, which is unfortunate because the show is utterly fantastic. But I think with time, it will find that audience, especially before season 2 drops next year. They've also, discovered that with the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda and Boba Fett, they can play in Luke Skywalker and everyone else that they brought back, Ahsoka. They can play within that world and appease the fans in that world. And they know that if they're there, they're kind of in their safe little bubble, provided they don't go too far out. And I think parts of Boba Fett and Kenobi kind of went a little bit too far out there in a way that kind of bothered some people. But they generally have a good grasp on where they are with that. So keeping forward on that path, giving us Thrawn, giving us all that stuff, might actually be the best course of action for really solidifying the event series for Disney Plus. But when it comes to theatrical, they gotta just stop being afraid. Now, I've said this before, I will say this again. I do not believe that going past the Rise of Skywalker is the best course of action. We don't need episodes 10, 11, and 12. What we need to do is go back and tell other stories from character perspectives during the original trilogy. And I say that for a predominance of reasons, a number of reasons. And the biggest one is generally that fans out there love the Empire. The First Order didn't really click with a lot of people, but they fucking love the Empire. And they want to see good versus evil. They want to see the rebels versus the Empire. They want to see how the rebellion operates. They want to see all of those things. And that's what Andor is doing. But I think if they were to tell stories between episodes 4 and 5 and 5 and 6, we would get this we could get some really cool things that I don't know if they necessarily need to be shown, but you would have a built-in nostalgic fan base that would already show up for that. And if the stories were good, look at Rogue One as just being a movie. It was really good. It was a bit Frankenstein together in the end, but it was better than the sum of its parts. And they could find a way to cobble those stories together and then from there take those and move them into something that I think could really work well with audiences. They're not creatively bankrupt. They are just kind of having I think they're having some growing pains. You know what I mean? So there's definitely that. Yeah, Reed here says we could get a Thrawn series. I think we are going to get at least a modified version of Heir to the Empire. I think we are going to get that, to be fair. I really do. I really think we are going to get that there. The First Order is just a lamer empire. I mean, the First Order makes sense. Like, logistically, the First Order makes sense. Like, what happened to the remnants of the Empire? Well, they went out into the outer regions. The Galactic Republic thought they drove them all out. They thought that they had won, and then they got kind of complacent and got kind of lazy. 30 years later, they have nothing to worry about. The First Order comes back. Now they've got better tech. They've tended to their wounds. They have, come back smarter and bolder. And now they're being led by the grandson of Luke Skywalker. That's going to be a fucking thing. And they have a base that can literally suck the power out of suns and destroy entire star systems. Like it's an amped up version of A New Hope, but still it's a threat. The problem though is that The Last Jedi really failed to establish what that threat could do. And that was the biggest problem with there's a lot of problems with The Last Jedi, more than I can name right now, but yeah, it's just, there's a lot with that movie. That was pretty bad. Tony here says Star Wars isn't always about lightsabers and Death Stars. Goddamn right. What did I say? Did I say his nephew? What did I say? Yeah, it's his nephew. My bad. Let's see. They should release the original sequels George Lucas wanted to do. No, they shouldn't. No, I don't care about going into the midichlorians on a subatomic level. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that not being a thing. You know what I mean? I think they could have done it better, but I'm okay with that not happening. Garrick here says, so if KK leaves, will the fandom menace be positive about Disney Star Wars or no? What do you think, Garrick? What do you think on that one? I'm honestly asking you that question. Like, what do you think on that? Do you think that they should that they would actually give up that cash flow? Hell no. They're not going to give up that goddamn cash flow. All right. Rational here says they should have done the Sith army instead of the First Order. I mean, the rules of the Sith are, a master and an apprentice, which I forget which Sith Lord made that edict a thing. I forget which one did that, but I think they could have done it like that. They could have done it like that at all. They could have gotten rid of that. Let's see here. Spider-Man, it says there's stuff about Darth Maul and Luke being alive. Well, I mean, what do you mean? Like Darth Maul now being Darth Maul is pretty effing dead at this point in time, right? He's pretty effing dead at this point. Luke, they should have never have killed off. That was the greatest mistake that Kathleen Kennedy ever allowed to have happen, was the killing of Luke Skywalker. It made, for one, thematically, it made no sense. It really didn't. And I'm usually a person that can argue the theme of what they're going for, like the intent. It had no intent. It was literally something that was just shoehorned in for no other reason than just we had this big moment. Let's kill off Luke Skywalker, because that was the original plan. It was going to be Han in Force Awakens, Luke in The Last Jedi, and then it was going to be Leia in whatever the third one was going to be. And then, of course, Carrie Fisher actually dies a year before The Last Jedi comes out. They had a year to clip that scene by 5 fucking seconds and save the fucking franchise. They had a year to make that choice, but they chose to not do it. I'll never understand it. I would love to be able to one day sit down and actually ask Kathleen Kennedy, why did you kill Luke Skywalker? What service to the story did that do? What was the purpose of that scene? Why did you do it? When all it ultimately ended up doing is just damaging the fan base in irrevocable ways. It just made no freaking sense whatsoever. Darth Scipio here says, Nerderotic, Jeremy Griggs, Yellow Flash, and Kindle, among others, will never let go of the cash flow. They're making a killing as we speak. That's very true. That is very true. They can come out and say literally whatever they want. They can come out and make any claim they want to make, and their audience isn't smart enough to push back, and I don't even think their audience generally cares. To be honest with you, Darth, I don't think their audience actually cares. But I care about being factual. I care about being accurate. I care about managing and moderating expectations. I care about not being a liar to you guys and not willfully misleading you. And that's a problem that unfortunately a lot of people a lot of the shit goes to. Let's see. Reed here asks, should YouTube be sued for the fandom menace? No, I mean, because it would be okay. So YouTube operates, in fact, hell, every website that allows for user-generated content operates off of what is known as the Safe Harbor Act, right? And what that allows is for the platform to stay neutral in regards to not being held liable for what is posted, provided that if items do come up that are like that transgress, like hate speech, death threats, copyright violations, things along those lines, those things end up getting called out, right? Those things end up getting removed. That is how YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and other places maintain that safe harbor provision. It's like Section 230 of the internet. It's from like the 90s. Bill Clinton signed it into law, if I remember correctly. And it's just kind of the law of the land. You know what I mean? It's been a long time, but it's like the law of the land. And that is why they won't be. Now, YouTube at any point in time could go, okay, we've had enough of your shit, and they neuter them, and they might eventually do that. But at the same time, YouTube only provides 45% of all ad revenue to content creators. They take 55%, maybe they give 55%, they take 45%. Either way, it's in that split. And so those videos are pulling in hundreds of thousands of views. They're making a fair amount of money. And so they're not incentivized to actually do anything because at the end of the day, they're just the platform. That's what's going on. That's why that won't happen. So there's that. But all right, there's a couple things I want to dive into tonight. We had this one pop up on Culture Crave a little bit ago. Black Panther star Letitia Wright calls out the Hollywood Reporter. How dare you mention my name alongside men who have been accused of abuse and sexual misconduct? Vile behavior. Now, if you don't know what she's talking about, there's an article that the Hollywood Reporter put out today saying how personal baggage will impact Oscar chances. Say 3 acting contenders, Will Smith, Brad Pitt, and Letitia Wright, bring a varying degrees of personal controversy to the campaign trail. Now, we all know about Will Smith. Smack the piss out fucking Chris Rock. Brad Pitt has been accused of, I believe, of abuse and potential sexual misconduct by his ex-partner and ex-wife, Angelina Jolie, something I do believe he has vehemently denied. But Letitia Wright, she was generally an anti-vaxxer, was kind of what it was. And comparatively speaking, that's not as bad, right? I'm not saying it's good, but, they're kind of smearing her here. So she says, I had to unblock at Hollywood Reporter just to post this. Scott Feinberg and all at this publication, you're incredibly disrespectful. How dare you? You mentioned my name alongside men who have been accused of abuse and sexual misconduct. This is vile behavior. At a point of personal vendetta towards me, I've done nothing wrong, but respectfully refuse to do interviews with this publication. Stop your nonsense. I apologized 2 years ago, remained silent on the topic. You lied and said I continue talking about it with my cast and crew on set. This was not true. Ask my producer and director. The film is successful. Your agenda towards me is now even more clear. I won't remain silent. Stop your disgusting behavior. And I think a lot of people are like, yeah, I'm on her side with this. I thought the anti-vax shit was stupid a couple years ago. But look, man, like having an opinion on a vaccine is not the same as being pissed off at a joke at an award ceremony, walking up and open hand slapping the comedian on stage who used to be a good family friend because he made fun of the fact that, like, you know, Jada Pinkett Smith has got one line of bald spot on her head. That's it. Her alopecia was like one line. It wasn't the whole head, you know. And then you've got Brad Pitt and those allegations. Again, that's a lot of that's just messy divorce shit. I have no idea what's true or not true. Just saying. None of us do, you know. And then with her, she's been silent. She got lambasted over this shit, and she remains silent afterward. That's very true. And to be kind of, I get it. Like, yeah, that might. It's a point of conversation, obviously, like to go, oh yeah, Letitia Wright had her own controversies. People were asking what they were going to do about Shuri as a result of all this. And yeah. And you know, she still did her job and everyone there likes her. So I think I'm on her side with this one. I feel like the Hollywood Reporter was just, you know, they were going for an op-ed, and I think it's a little bit on the, you know, on the shit right there, man. Yeah, Reed here says, at least she apologized, unlike Cara Dune. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Spider-Man Gaming here says, too bad about Cara Dune. I mean, like, look, dude, it is what it is, man. It is what it is on that shit. There are, you know, there's a lot of bullshit going on with, you know, with all that stuff. It's just, like, this is the thing I hate about the fucking media, right? Like, I really, really, really do hate the media in many, many, many ways. And this is one of the key reasons as to why. It's like, the three are not comparable, right? Will Smith, we all watched Will Smith bitch slap Chris Rock. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie are going through a messy family court situation right now in regards to the kids. And that shit's only going to get worse. And that's their private life coming out into the public. And there's going to be a lot of smear campaigns that are going to be done. And I don't know what's true. You don't know what's true. Letitia Wright made some stupid comments, apologized for it, didn't say shit about it. And is like basically telling them, look, talk to my producer, talk to my director, talk to people at Marvel who would have shut me the fuck up about this because of how much money was on the line with this movie. And then go from there. And I think she's got a fucking point. I think she's got a fucking point with that one. But we'll have to wait and see what happens next, right? Let's see here. Oh, well, yeah, we're gonna get to the Quentin Tarantino stuff, right? Let's see. Character says, "Don't worry about Gina. She's making movies with the Daily Wire now." Well, she made. I mean, yeah, she did. What was it? The Terror on the Prairie, which I did watch, and that was through Daily Wire. And then she did the My Son Hunter, which was actually not through Daily Wire. I thought it was at first. It was actually distributed through Breitbart, and still no one's seen it. No one's talked about it. No one's given a shit about that. So yeah, there's that one there. But all right, moving on. We did get this news today. Avatar: The Way of Water will officially be released in China on December 16th. This will be the first Hollywood blockbuster under Disney to release in China since 2019. Obviously, that's The Rise of Skywalker. And look, you know, I have a feeling a lot of this had to do with Bob Iger coming back, because Bob Iger was CEO in 2019. And I think he's a politician. He's a good businessman. He knows how to make this shit work. And now with China, we can basically tell that Avatar: The Way of Water, that shit might actually hit that $2 billion mark. It might, man. I don't know if it's gonna, but it might hit that $2 billion mark because people out there are going to be really, are going to be able to see it here. Yeah, now they can make $2 billion. Yeah, because dude, I'm telling you, man, like people in China fucking love Avatar. They love Avatar. All right. They're just good. Like, it's just going to be like the biggest movie ever. They've had a fucked up year in China too. Let's be fair. They've had a really fucked up year. They have absolutely just been like locked down. They have severe lockdowns there. But even last year, or was it 2020? I forget which year. I think it was last year. They brought back Avatar and it made so much money that it put it back over Avengers Endgame. That to me is just insane. That to me is just hysterical. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Garrick here says Bob Iger works fast. Oh, dude, that I like. I mean, clearly I'm joking around about that, but yeah, no, really. I mean, like that's the thing is Bob Iger really, really, really does work fast. Rational here says Avatar is really big in China and India. That's true. Spider-Man Gaming here says Avatar cheated in 2020. It's not really cheating. A re-release isn't cheating. Okay. So here's the thing with that, right? Spider-Man. You ever heard the saying that if you adjust for inflation, Gone with the Wind is the highest grossing movie of all time, right? But the thing with Gone with the Wind is that it didn't make all that money back in the 1930s when the movie came out. The movie was re-released multiple times, even up to and including the 1980s, has had wide re-releases. The movie has been screened several times, in different places and whatnot. The movie made its money over the course of multiple decades. So, and again, even if you want to adjust for inflation, here's something funny for you. Take Avatar's initial win, right? The 2.7 billion in 2010, and run that through an inflation adjuster. And you're going to see that still actually has the highest gross of any movie ever. It puts it well over 3.5 billion or something along those lines. So like there's a reason why we don't adjust for inflation, and that has a lot to do with that. But it's just kind of funny how people always kind of like, you say, oh, it cheated. It didn't cheat. It was like they released it at a time that they were trying to revive their cinemas in China, and people responded. Even when they did the re-release here of the 4K up-res version of it, it still did $13 million, which was not bad. Not bad at all. Moisture here for $5. Thanks, buddy. Says, poor China has missed out on a lot of great movies from 2020 to now. That is true. It did. It did miss out on quite a bit. They've also, look, China has a very strong film market there. I mean, if you don't believe me, talk to HBarts. That motherfucker knows, dude. That motherfucker knows that China's got a lot of movies. The Chinese cinema is like really big. It's a country with 1.4 or 1.5 billion people. I mean, they're clearly going to be making movies. They're clearly going to be doing things that are going to speak to the audience there. A big thing going on with China, and I've mentioned this multiple times, is that China's doing this weird thing under President Xi, or Xi, or Xi Jinping, sorry, President Xi. They want to do this. This is my take on it, calling it like the depussification of men, right? They want chads. They want alpha bros. They don't want no beta bitch. They want alpha chad bros, And the reason why is because they, I think, are getting ready for some shit down the road. Xi Jinping, El Señor Winnie the Pooh himself, is 100% going to be like pushing for something. I mean, if I were the American government, I would look at that and go, oh shit, we got to really cut down on obesity in our culture, man. We got because you're not going to be able to fight, to battle like 800 million dudes, right? Like if you have like, let's say at least like 100 million of age men that are able to fight, sending 100 million men into a foreign country, sending 3 million men into a foreign country. That's going to end up being more than our military, because the vast majority of our militarized forces are outside of the country. So you drop that shit in here, it's going to be like fucking Red Dawn and shit, dude. In fact, the 2009 Red Dawn movie did originally feature the Chinese as the villains until people, got mad in China. And so then they decided to change it to North Koreans, as if the North Korean military can do anything outside of kill its own people. I thought that was kind of funny. But hey, listen, Chris Hemsworth, Wolverines. Yeah, it's okay. We spend trillions on the army. I mean, yeah, dude, we'll fucking, you kidding me? Like, look, the next big war that's going to happen is flat out going to be, it's going to be like a proxy war, right? Or not proxy war. It's going to be, largely with like drones and shit. So yeah, look, I hope we don't do anything with nukes. I don't want no nukes. I'm all for a nuclear free world. I don't necessarily believe in the argument that, that we got to nuke something. All right. But you know who might out there be wanting to nuke something? I just don't quite know it. And that could be Mr. Quentin Tarantino, who's been making some waves recently, who's been really making some interesting waves, right? But I'll tell you this guy's real quick thing. There's 75 of you guys in here. Hit the like button, smack the like button. Let's fucking go. Let's get it up to at least 50. We can fucking do it. You're listening, you're watching. Go ahead, smack the like, tickle it a little bit, because let's talk about Quentin Tarantino, who says, who, when criticized about racial slurs in his movies and the violence in his movies, he simply says, see something else. Like, it's a very Tarantino thing to say. And that's not going to sit well with everybody, to be honest with you. That's not going to sit well with everybody. Not everybody out there wants to sit there and see something else. They want to speak out against things like this. And I understand that. Now it says here that Quentin Tarantino doesn't care if you hate his movies. The Oscar winner 59 recently appeared on HBO Max's Who's Talking to Chris Wallace, where he discussed a criticism against him for the violence and racist language in his films. Wallace, who's 75, asked the director, so when people say, well, there's too much violence in his movies, he uses the N-word too often, you say what? And Tarantino says, you should see something else. Then see something else. Can I just say that's based? Like that is absolutely, that is based. Like, that's based. Like, fuck you. Like, I'm a liberal. I'm a lefty. Okay. I really am. I'm a progressive. I'm more of a policy guy than a social guy, to be fair. But the way I view it is, man, I hate online mobs. I hate Twitter armies. I hate all of that shit. And so if you have the this is where me and the Fandom Menace would obviously have our overlap, which I hate to have with them, but it does happen from time to time, is if you look at this and you go like, look, I don't agree with like the racist language. All right. Like, you know what, man, like you got a fetish for that and feet. All right. Maybe back off a little bit. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, he's an artist. That's his art. Fuck you. If you don't fucking like it, pound sand, fucking suck a dick. I get that. And I respect that, because at this point you just tell him to go pound sand. What are they going to do? They can't cancel Quentin Tarantino. Are you going to tell a whole bunch of Gen Xers who love movies like, hey, you can't watch Tarantino anymore? They're going to be like, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to care. And the younger audience, the kids like edgy shit. All right. Tarantino, he's less edgy now than he used to be. But again, it's just like he has a certain way of doing things, and it's worked real well. Spherical Manor says, Matt Jarbo trying to appeal to today's youth by using the parlance of our times. Anyway, that's funny, Spherical Man. That really is. All right, getting back to the article here. All right, the Pulp Fiction filmmaker went on to say, if you have a problem with my movies, then they aren't the movies you go see. Apparently, I'm not making them for you. Some of Tarantino's critically acclaimed projects include Jackie Brown, The Hateful Eight, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Django Unchained, and Inglourious Bastards. Look, I will admit I haven't seen The Hateful Eight or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but Django Unchained and Inglourious Bastards are two of my all-time favorite movies. I love the way that they're made. I love the way that they're put together. I love all that kind of stuff. I think for me, when I talk about, yeah, all this shit, I just kind of crack up. Command Unit here for $2. Thank you. It says, we live in interesting times. I'll tell you this though, Command Unit, you say it like that. And I think a lot of it boils down to the fact that, every time frame has always been interesting. If you think about it, right? Every time has always been an interesting time. Things are always evolving. Things are always being, moved and things along those lines. I really feel like, when you get someone like Tarantino, and people have been calling him Scorsese, we're going to talk about the Marvel stuff here in a second. Bipolar Jedi wanted to come on to talk about the Tarantino thing real quick. And I want to get his take, because he's an older dude like me, he's been around a long time. I remember seeing Pulp Fiction when he was a kid. Obviously, a lot of people out there Remember seeing that because I remember I'll tell you guys how I saw Pulp Fiction. My mom told me I couldn't see it. Right. My mom told me that I couldn't watch it at all. She was like, it's not for you because we rented it and we got watching it and they got to the first part of the movie, with like the robbery. And so when Honey Bunny's all like, sit the fuck down or I'll execute every last motherfucking one of you, which is such a great line. My mom's like, go to your room. Couldn't watch it. I was like 13 at the time or whatever. So I had to wait until the summer of 1997. All right. I was 15 years old. I was working at a label making factory. This is true. A label making factory outside of Tigard, Oregon, which is where I lived at the time. And my parents were going to a wedding that night. And so my mom brought my bicycle to work. And hey, what's up, Chris? I'm just telling this quick story. So my mom brought my bicycle to work and she was like, okay, we're going to be gone when you get home. So, just have a good night and we'll talk to you after the wedding. All right, cool. So I rode my bike to Fred Meyer, which is kind of like a Walmart neighborhood market sort of thing. And they had a Hollywood Video inside. So I went into Fred Meyer. I got my, fucking pizza, my microwavable pizza, a 2-liter of soda, because I was a fat kid. And it was Coke. It was full-bodied, full-calorie 90s Coke, And then I went to the Hollywood Video where I could rent R-rated movies on the account. They had given that allowance to me. They allowed me to do that. So I went and I grabbed Seven and I grabbed Pulp Fiction. Movies that I knew my parents wouldn't let me see, but they weren't going to be home. So I had time to watch them. And so I rented the movies. I start bike riding home. On the way home, I go down this one hill. It's a shortcut, but there's like this one like steep hill. Because I've got the bag on my handlebars, I end up not being able to slow the bike down enough because the bag blocked blocked me from getting to the brake. And I crashed off of the road. I jumped a ditch, landed on someone's yard, threw the chain from my bike and skidded to a halt. And I was still about a half mile from home. So I had to like limp my broken bike and my bruised body back to my street. I get to my street. I look down. I see that my parents are still home. They hadn't left yet. And I was like, fuck, I can't roll up injured with like a bag of food and, they're going to ask what I rented. So I went to the next street and I coasted all the way down to my friend's house. And I was like, bro, I need you to hold on to these movies for me, man. And he's like, what? I'm like, just hold on to these movies. Okay. Like bring them up to my house in about 45 minutes. And he's like, why? I'm like, cause it's fucking Pulp Fiction. You want to watch it? He was like 13. He's like, yeah, all right. I'm like, cool, man. So like, I ended up having to like hide the movies at my friend's house so I wouldn't get caught watching Pulp Fiction and Seven, both in the same night for the first time. God, I miss the 90s, Chris. Don't you miss the fucking 90s?
I was in the 90s. I was 17 in 91, somewhere around in there. But I don't know. I had super cool parents. Even though my dad's Vietnam vet, he's very liberal. I've told you this before. Where I lean slightly right or to the center. My dad and my mom and my brothers are hardcore liberals, but very, very progressive. My dad was super cool. I mean, he was crazy. He built us a tree house and he waterproofed it, and we had like our own TV and VHS player in that tree house. So whenever I wanted to watch things like, I don't know, porn, I could just go to the tree house or I could watch an R-rated movie up in the tree house. But most of the time I didn't have to hide it. As long as it wasn't really sexually graphic, my parents
it's weird. Violence, totally okay.
Yeah, sex, my parents were okay with violence, but seeing boobies, they would freak out.
That's the thing. That's the thing. That's the puritanical problem that we have in our culture, right? What is worse for society? Tits or fucking bullets?
Right.
Really?
Right? But
someone getting eviscerated with a double, with a sawed-off shotgun. That's perfectly fine, but goddamn, you free the nipple and it's just, fucking bedlam up in this motherfucker.
Yeah, and we're talking about a guy who I think he won't watch war movies, any of them. Not just the Vietnam, so he won't watch it. I think the only one he's ever watched was I think Rambo, the first one, the first Blood,
First Blood, yeah.
Because it dealt with PTSD back when it was still called shell shock, and I think he might have watched that Hacksaw Ridge one. because my
Can you
dad.
even call First Blood a war movie though?
Well, it's Vietnam based, or a lot of Vietnam flashbacks, but it's not a war movie. You're absolutely right. It's not. It's about a war vet, you
Yeah.
know. But I listen. I discovered here. The Tarantino thing, man. Everyone knows John Carpenter and James Cameron are my favorite directors of all time, but right beneath them is Kevin Smith and Tarantino. You know, I love the
Yeah.
Scorseses. I love the Francis Ford Coppolas, the Dino De Laurentiis. I love all those guys, but Cameron and Carpenter, for some reason, along with Kevin Smith, because just the way Kevin did it, you know, is what fascinates me. You know, Kevin made it possible for everybody to do it. And then, you know, I just really love Tarantino. But what I want to say about Tarantino, first of all, I discovered Tarantino on accident in 1993 by a very unknown movie, very underrated movie called True Romance.
Oh yeah, the Tony Scott directed, Quentin Tarantino written.
Yeah, before
Yeah.
Tarantino really blew up. Then he got Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, and it just went on that line. But the thing, you're right about times changing and how, look, everybody's feelings are going to change over time. New generations are going to take over. There's always going to be a culture shift. We've watched it happen with grunge music and 80s hair metal. We've seen it our whole lives, Maddie. But everything Tarantino got praised for in his early films, everybody hates him for now. It blows my mind. You know what I mean? Like he was winning awards for this shit.
Yeah.
In the late 90s and early 2000s, and now everybody hates him for it. And here's the thing about Tarantino. I'm sure everybody knows that. Anyone knows anyone. Go watch a couple interviews where they try to bait Tarantino. Zero fucks to give, guys. Like Tarantino, you're right. He can't be canceled. Now, I don't understand why he's going to attack the comic book genre. I don't really feel like.
Well, I have an article. I have an article for that. So
yeah,
I have an article.
But I don't get it. You know, I understand where guys like Martin Scorsese are coming from. I really do. Like when you can't get.
But I think look, look, I mean, Martin Scorsese, you know, like he's done gangster mobster movies constantly. So that's his forte.
Right, but it's
right. Those are like his superhero movies.
Yeah, those are your superhero movies, Scorsese. But I get it when someone comes in and says,
like,
"Hey, look what they did to Tarantino with the Star Wars stuff." You heard about that, right?
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Was it? No, it was Star Wars when his movie was coming out, and they said,
"Oh, Disney,
we can only give you so many screens because we got to have this many screens for Disney, which already owns half of Hollywood." And Tarantino, you know, he tried to do the Eddie Vedder "Let's Fight Ticketmaster" thing, and it didn't work out because you can't fight a company like Disney.
You can't. Like it was like, no, he lost out in the IMAX game, which is just like at that point though, you shift your fucking release date. I'm sorry, like you shift your release date. Like you either come out another 2 weeks beforehand. Or you wait another, like, I know he didn't want to wait that long or whatever, but I get it. It's a problem. It's definitely a FOMO thing. Real quick here, we got H bars for $5. Thanks, buddy. Says, my dad agreed to watch Avatar 1 and see The Way of Water in IMAX since he trusted your opinion of Clerks. That's the domino effect, buddy. That's how that shit works, right? You're all like, here's some Kevin Smith. Watch some Kevin Smith. Oh, did you like that? Did you like that kind of obscure 1993 movie? Here, go watch James Cameron's the highest grossing film of all fucking time. That's the pipeline. It's the Clerks to Cameron pipeline. That's what I'm working on here, you know? I love James Cameron movies. I personally, I'm high. Look, I said last night, I was like, what the fuck is Avatar 2 about? I want to know story. I like a decent story.
They're leaving it really under wraps, aren't they? Like
they are.
Really
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this though, dude. It's not even like I don't even fucking need like a story. I don't even need a story. I don't need an Oscar-winning story. All right, I just need something that's interesting. Just interesting. You know, like there's this movie. I don't know if you might have seen it. It came out in 2007. It's called Pirates the Porno. It was like $1 million budgeted porno.
Oh no, wait! I've heard of that movie though. It's
yeah,
got like Jessica James or whatever.
Jessica James, Janine's in it. Yeah. Jesse Jane, Janine.
Yeah,
Janine with an actual male female scene. I was surprised. I hadn't seen Janine. I thought she was full on gay at that.
She started out
doing regular,
then she went full
then
female.
She went lesbian because she got married, and then I guess she might have got anyway. This is old school like mid 2000s porn history stuff you guys don't give a fuck about. But like for us, that's kind of like watching like
for us to hear them dump that kind of a budget into a porn movie was crazy.
And but here's the thing with that though, like they actually took time to write a script. And so you can find the R-rated version of the movie, which has like all the penetration cut out.
Yeah, they used to have it on Showtime and stuff. It was
Yeah,
popcorn.
I saw it on the fucking shelf at Blockbuster.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
crazy.
and I was laughing my ass off because I'm like, you can watch this movie and it's got an interesting enough story about pirates and hunting pirate treasure. Like, when is that not interesting?
No, treasure
Yeah.
hunt shit's always interesting.
And
Always,
especially because it's like
yeah.
it's got, I forget the name of the actor, the main actor in that one. He's got the long blonde hair, right?
Evan Stone.
Evans, that's right. He
Evan
played,
Stone.
but he overplays it. Like, he was completely over the top performing in like every scene, and it was just comical. And you're like, all right, like I can get into watching. Like, do you know how many times I've actually watched softcore porn because the story was interesting? Like, I've literally watched some movies on Cinemax at night where I'm just like, if I could fast forward through the sex, I would, because I'm actually kind of invested in what's going on. Like that literally, like, because that's how I am as a moviegoer. Is like, I like to watch, if the story is interesting and I'm curious to see how it ends, I want to see it. You know, even porn sometimes has, now they're just these scenes of all like, hey there, stepbro, like it's nothing interesting anymore, right?
No,
But
it's all
like back in the
gonzo.
day,
Yeah.
they would write these like full hour and a half long movies. You'd have 5 or 6 sex scenes interspliced, and that would be the feature. That would be the movie. People would, they would make these actual movies with the plot and everything. And then they realize that they can just sell the clips online to different outlets, and that's where they make their cash. But anyway, so I'm just saying, it's like, as long as it's interesting.
It's James Cameron.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to talk about here. Right.
Yeah,
Hentai, Ryan, totally self-report on this one. Ryan Hartwell. Hentai is the same way. Self-report. But no, I'm just saying it's more or less like, that's a lot of that kind of stuff, right? It's really, Tony here says, you unironically watch porn for the plot. Yeah, dude, I did. I did. Even now, I would, if it was an interesting movie, I would check it out. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you get it. Sometimes there's an interesting story that's contained within. You're not going to find that now, right? You're not going to find that now, but you have to understand, I think a lot of porn, back in the day was written as a way to be enticing to the male and female.
Now, look, I don't know if it was just ego, or what, but the fact that, like, okay, Matt Damon, who I love Matt Damon. I do. I love the relationship he has with Kevin Smith. I love Ben Affleck. I think he rocks the shit in those Jason Bourne movies. But at the height, at the pinnacle of his success, this dude came out, and I don't know if it was just a bunch of cocaine or it was because the green script. Remember that thing they were gonna give somebody a chance to write a script? I can't remember what it was called.
Oh, Project Greenlight?
Project Greenlight. Yeah.
I entered that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, at the pinnacle of that, Matt Damon said he wanted to do a big budget, released in theaters, hardcore porn. Do you remember that when Matt said he wanted? And I was just like, that. Bro, this is your career about to go down in flames if you don't shut the fuck up, dude. Mid 2000s, man. He started talking about how he wanted to do a big budget porn, and he thinks he could get people in the seats because there was a time back in the day when you actually went to porn theaters and it was considered to be very chic. You would bring your woman, you would go home, and I'm just like, bro, I don't remember those times, man. I remember what oh wow, I'm so high. I'm not gonna remember what it's called. The big fucking place in New York where everybody goes. Total Request. Oh my God, Times Square. I remember when Times Square didn't look like that, Maddie. You remember when Times Square looked like Detroit?
Well, I'll tell you this, right? I've only been to New York one time. This is back in 1996.
Well, even in old movies like Taxi Driver.
Well, they is, but I can tell you though, we were in New York for a day, and we were in Times Square, and we went into this like information booth, right? So information kiosk building or whatever it was. And like, so you have all the little pamphlets there for like what to do. And then I walked around the corner in the building, and there in big, bold red letters, it just said Peep Show. And then there was a dentist chair. And like, I'm like, what the
fuck? Wait,
what the fuck is this shit?
What the fuck is it?
So I don't know, but like that was around the time. This is like when Giuliani was trying to clean up the city. But like, it's kind of like even like downtown LA was a lot like that too, where you just had this like hardcore kind of boozy, druggy, sexy
Oh
vibe.
yeah, the bottom half of the strip I heard was crazy. The
Yeah.
bottom
So I
half
mean,
was
like
fucking nuts. I heard parties right there in the streets, man.
people, it was a wild time, you know. I
Yeah,
mean,
like if you
nowadays
couldn't
it's
get your
just
band on stage at like the Whiskey, you would just go play in a parking lot somewhere. Like that's crazy to me, dude.
it's
God, I would have loved to seen LA back then.
I would
I
have
would
loved,
have,
yeah.
dude.
My oh, dude, my fucking former boss grew up in L.A. and when he was a teen and a young adult working for the L.A. County, like in their sewer, like whatever their sewer department and shit, and whatever that shit's called, I forget now. But he would tell me all these stories. I was like, oh, I went to Whiskey a Go Go, and I was bombing down the strip with my fucking with my car and my friends, and
The
like,
fucking
you know,
Troubadour, the
he's just like, we
Rainbow
would like,
Room.
yeah, he's just like,
Whoa.
yeah, we'd like just meet these girls and go off and screw, and it was very free. Like he was super like this guy was like he was a total perv, but he would like talk about like being in the Navy in the 70s and like getting hookers and shit. You know what I mean? Like he didn't care. But that's just again like the way the world was back in that time was way different, way more
Way
open,
different.
and now we've regressed in such a way to where it's like, and it might be the proliferation of online pornography with how easy it is to get. You don't need to worry about human connection anymore. It's like, oh, I've been rejected by this woman. Well, fine. I'm just going to go beat off my perfect woman getting railed by some dude on black.com. Like, and that's going to be what they're into.
Porn has power. I don't think it
Porn,
doesn't. Porn
porn
has
has
power. I
power.
heard you tell the story, and I was like, I can't believe he knows that. The VHS versus beta.
Yeah, but it didn't
Matt
flow
wasn't
through.
lying when he
I wasn't
said
lying when I said that. No, but it
thank
also
porn for the VHS.
should we though? I mean, should we really? Because I mean, it would have been beta, but it would have been a lot more expensive. You
Exactly,
know,
but I
here's the thing.
mean,
Here's the thing with that though, Chris. If we would have gotten beta over VHS back in the 80s, we would not have the love of having the bootleg movies on TV, right? Like, remember how it was when you were a kid and you would go and you're like, oh, I want to record this movie. It's on TV, and you'd have tapes.
yeah,
Like you go, okay,
yeah,
so this tape was like because you had on SLP setting to
yeah.
get the
Super
six
long play.
hours out of it.
You could get 3 movies on that bitch instead of just one. Hell yeah, man.
SP for those of you who don't fucking know, and I guarantee so many of the younger people do not understand
Like, what the
SPLP
fuck is
SLP.
SLP? Is that like a new insurance company? No,
Yeah,
listen,
like none of
SLP
you understand that
it
shit.
stands
It
for
was
super long play. You
yeah,
could
it's
set your VHS tape to record 2 ways. You could get really good high
three ways, three
quality.
ways, three ways. You could get three ways.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was regular. It was
Yeah.
standard, long play, and super long play.
Yeah. And it was like the quality was a little bit shittier on super long
The
play.
more you wanted to fit on one tape
Yeah.
to save money, or because you were a kid and didn't give a fuck how grainy it was. I miss some of those grainy old movies, man. Like I miss that shit. Seeing it like how many times you had
Yeah.
to pop it open and like straighten the tape out or
Oh
get the head
yeah.
cleaner, man, dude.
The
But
head cleaner.
you could
God.
fit 3 movies on one. I remember we had Iron Eagle on one VHS tape. We had Iron Eagle, we had Goonies, and we had Showgirls. And I watched that thing over and over and over and over until I wore it out. But it was so. The more you put on one tape, the worse it got. Like
It really,
the
yeah.
worst setting. So, and the high def, like we're in a day and age now where people freak out if it better be at least 1080. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? These days, or people freak out. But now it's 4K. 4K is going to move its way to 9K for computers soon. I get
And
it.
8K.
But
I
we
think they're
grew
up to
in
8K now for
yeah, we
computers.
grew up in a different time, you and me, man. We're fossils, bro, compared to these
Comparatively
youngsters.
speaking, yeah. But it's like, but I don't look, it's so weird. I don't look back on that time negatively.
No, I
As
loved
odd
it.
as
I
that is
loved
to
it.
say, like I don't like I remember like when I would sit there and I had my TV that I got had basically VCR plus in it, right? And VCR plus for those again, for those of you out there who don't remember that shit. What you would VCR plus was like a DVR well before there was DVR.
Yep.
Each show would have a code, would have like a 4 or 5 digit code, and you would plug that into your VCR plus, and you would put your tape in, and then it would go to that channel and it would record what's on that. If it provided you had the channel, right? Like if it was standard television, you'd have that. But if it was like cable, you could do that too. And you could then record it, and it would just record for that hour. And then that would be that. That was a thing that they did at the time. And it was great for when I was at work and I wanted to watch The Simpsons or something. But you could also, do you remember too? You could also program your VCR to record at a certain
Record
time
something while
too.
you were gone. I was just getting ready to say that. Remember, like to us, that was cutting edge. That
That
was oh my
oh my God, we're like it's fucking Fridays in the
I
'90s.
remember
You're going
the
to go to
first
a movie or go to the arcades. Like X Files is on at
and your
9,
shit's getting recorded. Yeah,
and you're like,
dude,
yeah,
I can remember losing my shit. This is how old I am. I can remember losing my shit when I saw they're gonna put a DVD and a VHS in the same machine. What? I could take all my DVDs and now that's how dumb I am. The new plateau for digital or for physical media has come out now. It's called CDs and DVDs. And my mind went straight to, gee, how can I go backwards in life by taking all my DVDs and recording them to VHS on the same machine?
well, I remember, yeah, when the DVD VHS combo came out, I bought one for my grandparents because like they were old, they were older and everything else. And I was just laughing my fucking ass off at like that shit with that, because I remember when like we got the DVD player, my stepdad got like a $10,000 tax refund. This is in like 2000. So he bought like a 65-inch TV and like a full Dolby surround sound and a 3-disc DVD player, which was awesome. But then I'm like, God damn, DVDs were fucking expensive at the time. And I remember one of the very first DVDs I ever bought was the original release of Stargate on DVD. And do you remember when DVDs were dual-sided?
Oh yeah, you had to flip them over.
Yeah, you had to fucking get the movie and you would rent it and like you'd go,
Or
all right, pop it in.
one version on one side, but a lot of people wanted what they call letterbox on the other side, like widescreen, but they called it letterbox. Remember?
Yeah,
people
letterbox.
freak out over it, and I'm just like, dude, why is it
Do you
called
remember?
letterbox?
Do you remember when they released letterbox VHSs and you'd be like, what the fuck is this shit?
What the fuck is this?
Like, I don't fucking. I'm watching like what was it? The Color Purple. And like I rented it and it was like the letterbox version. By the way, that's a great movie. But I'm like, why the fuck am I watching this like this? I remember when the Star Wars special editions came out on VHS and I go to Suncoast Video and they're just like, I want to pre-order it. And they go, well, what kind do you want? Do you want the full screen or do you want the letterbox? And I'm all like, they showed me like, cause they actually had side-by-side comparisons of like what it would look like on your screen. And I literally, like the fucking moron that I am, I went like, why the fuck would I want the bars on top and bottom, dude? I can see what's in the. I want the full frame.
Yeah, we get it now, though.
We get it now,
and it makes you feel like you're in the theater. Like I get it why they did it, but yeah, but remember when like a lot of people, like, VHS ain't so far out of the realm of reality that the younger generation doesn't understand it. But remember, like if you went out and bought like Titanic or Casino, it was 2 VHS tapes because they couldn't fit it all on one.
yeah, I remember that. Anything that was really long, Titanic was 2 VHS tapes. It's so funny. I went to pre-order that, and then something prevented me from buying it. I forget why, but then I rented it and I watched it, and I went like, oh yeah, I'm good with that. I'm glad I didn't buy this because it's way too fucking long. There are a couple quick super chats here to get to. Sorry guys, I totally fucking spaced on this. Command Unit here for $6 says Spartacus was basically porn. Yeah, but it had excellent storytelling.
Oh, I loved all 4
Spartacus.
seasons
The only thing I cracked up about Spartacus was like the merkins. Merkins are the pubic wigs.
Yeah,
so when you have like a full nude woman, it's like you could totally like, oh, there's her hair, there's her tits, there's her bush. That looks fake.
Yeah, here's what I want to say about Spartacus, man. First of 2 things. First of all, rest in peace,
Andy.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, Maddie, you and me are like right here, bro. Like, yeah.
No, I saw him at Comic-Con.
Rest in peace, Andy. He was amazing, and thank you for giving me a full frontal
of Lucy Lawless,
Princess. All right, those are the 2 things I want to say. But little too much. It's Steven Estonite, right?
Steven Estonite, yeah.
Little too much slow-mo, bro.
Well, in the first season, it was bad, but they toned it down as time went on. You know what I mean? Like the final season of that show was fucking good. The final season of that show was great.
Taking the funny guy from The Mummy, who's funny in just about everything he's in, and turning him into like a main villain, Badiatis.
Yeah.
Just, dude, he played an amazing villain. Dude. But you know what? Comedians are good at playing the bad guys. They just are, man. You know.
Well, what about that? What about that season 3 finale with Lucretia? Lucretia. Xena's
Jumping
character.
off the cliff with the
Yeah,
baby.
yeah, 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 yeah. That was fucking nuts, dude. That was nuts. But
But yeah, I
I'll tell
love
you
that.
this though. I'll tell you this though. I love Crixus. Manu Bennett was great in that show.
We screamed. Me and my friend Rusty, we watched it every week together, and we screamed when he got beheaded. Like we literally screamed, put all over Facebook, Crixus lives, all this crazy shit. Because he was our favorite. Crixus was everybody's favorite, I think.
My favorite was the guy. God, I don't know. I'm blanking on his name right now. He was the dude who got crucified in the end. Gannicus.
Gannicus. Yeah,
He was my favorite character.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I love the whole fucking show. I thought, dude, the guy they got to play Caesar was great in the last season. Like,
Yeah, and they worked it in kind of historically the way,
a little bit, yeah.
Went out and took over the slave uprising, but Caesar didn't get the credit. Brutus got the credit, which might have been what led to them falling out later. Listen, you guys may not think it, but you can watch Spartacus from one angle, and then HBO has this amazing show called Rome, and you can watch that as a companion piece because
13.
Rome
13.
deals with right, and Rome deals with like the
fall of Caesar,
like,
the fall of Caesar, and then the fall of Rome.
The uppity guys, the more uppity, like
yeah, it's the Senate, it's the
society,
Senate. Yeah. But
Spartacus
it's like
deals with,
I mean, like Lucius Vorenus and Titus Pullo, man. I still remember their fucking names.
Yeah, that dude went on to be huge, man. The dude, both of them.
They've had Ray. I would argue Ray Stevenson has had a bigger career than Kevin.
Yeah, that's the redheaded guy, right? Yeah, I would say he has too many. He had Grey's Anatomy. He's been in a couple of movies. He went on to do pretty big things. I always thought that that movie that they were going to do with him and the guy from Band of Brothers, who also went on to do great things.
Damian Lewis.
Yeah, I really wanted that movie to happen, but it never did happen. It was supposed to be like it was supposed to be like a Ridley Scott Gladiator sequel, but it never happened,
Well, according to Ridley Scott, the script's been written. I had no fucking idea what that's going to do, though. Real quick, though, let's move on from that. Zachary for 5 bones. Thanks, Zachary. Says, I tried sending you that link I found about the apparent Bambi horror movie. Was wondering if I got it. I'm sorry, I did get it. I can bring it up here at the end. I haven't read it yet, but I did get it. So thank you for that, Zachary. Appreciate it. And then Rational for 5 also, thank you. Says, Matt, remember having 2 VCRs and copying Blockbuster tapes to a blank VHS using composite tables? Oh, yeah. Here's the problem with that, though. I didn't, none of my friends we couldn't make it work for some reason. Like, all of our VCRs combined couldn't make it work. But my dad could make it work. My dad lived in Washington. I was in Oregon. So, when I worked at Hollywood Video, I came up to visit for a week. I literally brought a bag of tapes that I had grabbed from Hollywood Video, and I just made copies over the course of the week.
Yeah, remember when they put that weird new style of magnet strip inside the? So if you were recording from one VCR to another, it would make it flash bright and dark, bright and dark, bright.
They tried the anti-piracy stuff. Yeah,
it didn't work. People just found a way around it.
Do you know how you handle those ones? You put a piece of tape over that little pull tab at the bottom of the VHS tape, and then you just hit record.
That was it. Yep.
You just hit record and go,
criminals
I'm sorry.
Always find their way around the law, guys.
Well, it's like I mean, I can't tell you. I don't remember the very first movie I ever downloaded, but I had heard about it in the late 90s. And I know I've told the Blair Witch story, Blair Witch Project story before about trying to, get a copy of it early on the internet, because that was a rumor on a Yahoo message board.
Oh yeah. I go as far back as I didn't have a computer at the time. I would just go buy one of those web TV things from where you could just talk and go into chat rooms and stuff. That was my first taste of it, because I was doing time when all the real internet stuff was jumping off. But by the time 2001 rolled around, when I saw that you could download something to your computer, and this is before MP4, where you could go out and buy a DivX player and put it on a flash drive. You could watch on. I remember I spent a day and a half because I wanted to see the first Fast and Furious so bad, and I had missed its run. So a day and a half. 36 hours it took to download it, but that's the first thing I ever downloaded was the very first Fast and Furious movie.
I never downloaded that when it came out, because it was on DVD a few months later, and I knew someone who owned a music store who sold DVDs, and so he sold me a copy of the movie. I got it early, a week before it came out. He had a shipment brought in, but I remember back in the day, this is before, because MP4s took many, many, many years to get to. But the codec back in the day was ASF, right? And it predated even AVI. And
Wow.
even
And
AVIs aren't
AVI
even,
was like the first one. You
it
know what I
felt like the
mean?
first one. Yeah, it was like AVI or MOV. And ASF was a much higher compressed file. Like I forget the name of the program you had to get to play it, but there was, I think it was like cccp.com or something allowed you to install the codec that allowed it to work with certain players. But then VLC media players got all those codecs already in
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
essentially. So like you're not really stopped from, watching anything these days. I mean, now shit, dude, it's all like, within an hour of a show going live, like the 4K copy of it's already
It's
available in
already
certain
out.
places.
I remember the old sites you'd have to go to, like before we had like what we have now, like RERBG or Pirates Bay. Back then, you had to go to like some shit called LimeWire or
Uh,
BearShare. Remember
Bear Share. Those are
BearShare?
all Bear Share. See, Bear Share, LimeWire, and Kazaa were all basically the same company. But that was a lot of what they were doing, was just all that shit back then. And yeah, it's like,
You know, an
I
interesting little side thing about that is I'm sure you've all heard, I'm sure everyone's heard of the lovely Miss Alanis Morissette, who I love her music. I have since I was young, but I remember her as far back as You Can't Do That on Television, that Canadian kid show where the green slime actually came from. You know
oh,
what I
that was a
mean?
great
Before
show.
Nickel, yeah. Um, some people came to her and was like, "Hey, would you like to invest in this new technology we got coming out called MP3 and MP4?" And everybody laughed at it. Everybody laughed at it. They thought it wasn't going to do shit. And I think she turned her $400,000 investment into like $1 billion. It's crazy, dude. That's crazy to know that Alanis was like ahead of the curve on that, you know. And she was battling. Remember when her and Lars were like clapping at each other, like, yeah, but you know,
I
in the
remember
end,
I
Lars
remember
was
Lars
right.
Ulrich. Yeah, like I remember Lars Ulrich becoming the most hated person on the internet.
Yeah, yeah,
You
well, when
know.
you deny people free shit, they're gonna get angry,
Yeah.
but in the end, he was right, you know, like,
Well,
but
yeah.
I was mad at him too. I was like, "Wow, these motherfuckers who I've idolized since I was a kid are mad because I can get their music for free. How many of your fucking CDs have I bought over the years? Maybe I could just have a few free songs." But Lars was like, "I have more money I know what to do with. It's not about the money. This is gonna kill the industry." But times change. He was right, but times change, man. They just do.
Well,
People
yeah, but I mean, again, as we've known for years now, that touring is where a lot of these guys make their money. So, and that hasn't necessarily changed. The industry
no.
itself is very predatory. And yeah, it absolutely sucks. I get that entirely. Real quick here, Reed left a member chat. Thank you for being a matinee member for 8 months. Saying here, the oldest things I collect are records and comics. I mean, yeah, nothing wrong with that, man. I mean, like Chris and I grew up in, like, at a time when, we remember life before the internet. Like
Yeah.
we were, and that sounds weird to say, but it's like, because I was even saying this like when I was 25. So it's not like a recent revelation. It's like, yeah, I remember what it was like when I had a black and white TV as a kid. I remember
Yeah.
what it was like when it was like, hey, listen, be home when the sun goes down. Or, like, okay, if you're going to go out. Or where you going? I'm out with, this friend. Okay, have fun. It was like my parents literally never asked where I was going. Like literally never asked where I was going.
Well, it was
I
still
was like,
considered a little bit safe back then, you know what I
well, I
mean?
mean,
Like,
like Portland back in the 90s was like fucking chill. You know what I mean? Like, so was San Diego. San Diego for a while was known as America's most livable city. And to be fair, parts of it really are. It's
have
really
you ever
nice
seen
there.
the meme, Maddie, where it says, back in my day, this is how before the internet, this is how we knew where all our friends were, and it shows all the bikes at the one house, the kid's house. You just
Yeah,
see
that
all the
was a big
bikes.
one. Yeah.
That's a great meme, and we grew up in that time, like we just did. My kid's never gonna know what it was like before the internet, but we do. Remember, things have changed so much. People really, I want you to contemplate. This is gonna be a weird analogy, but I want you to contemplate. When I was young, we had Atari and all that, but when Nintendo came out, it was a big deal, and $150 was a big deal in the mid 80s. Okay,
Yeah.
and you would get one Nintendo for the whole fucking house, man. The whole house. Now everybody's got to have their own console. Think about
Yeah.
that. Do you know anybody that has one Xbox for the whole house or one computer for the whole house? Remember when it was one computer for the whole house? Try that shit now and see what happened.
Well, I mean, like like in my house, we have my computer, but I have my laptop, so I can, whatever. And then, like we got like the one tablet, and then like, we need another
everybody
tablet.
has their phones and stuff, and your daughters ain't old enough that you're blessed.
No,
bro.
but they've got the Amazon Kids tablet that they use occasionally. But
my kid, you know what I'm saying? Like this is weird for me. Like my kid, my oldest is in her mid-20s now. She's getting ready to have her own kid, and then I got my two step kids, but I got my baby Danica, and she just hit 17. Okay. And she has an Instagram following of 500,000 people. She has a TikTok following of 300,000 people. That freaks me out. I can't imagine what the world's going to be like when your little girls hit 16 and got their own. I mean, that phone changed the world. Them smartphones changed everything, Matt. The whole world's different now because of them. I can't even, you know how hard it is to have a conversation with a teenage girl when she's got her phone on her?
About as hard as it is to have a conversation with anyone when they have their phone on.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. They live in their phones. And I remember now imagine telling the family, okay, we have one cell phone. Here it is. The Zach Morris Saved by the Bell car battery sized phone.
Oh, yeah.
But no, imagine taking one smartphone now and saying, okay, the whole family has to share this. Dude, there'd be riots.
That's what it was when I was younger. And so when I ended up meeting the stripper that I went on to date for a few months, I didn't have my own cell phone yet. I was still sharing my parents, so I gave her my cell number. So she called and like talked to my mom.
Well, yeah. Well, I remember.
Left a message like, call. I get home from work and like there's a note saying like, a girl named Jen called for you. Here's her number. And I'm like, okay, cool. I gave her a call, and that was a fucking nightmare.
First cell phone, believe it or not, I saved up for it. It was right after I came home, from being downwind in the penal facility. But I finally came home in 2005, and no trouble since then. All that addiction shit's over with, all that stuff. Pat myself on the back. But I remember wanting a cell phone because everybody was getting them. But the most advanced cell phone at that time, believe it or not, because they still was the flip out stuff, and the katanas and the razors they were just about to come out, but they hadn't came out yet. Have you guys ever seen the movie? What's the one where Tom Cruise is a hitman? He's making Jamie Foxx. Collateral. That phone he's using, that Nokia that flips open and has a keyboard on each side, and then it folds back up and turns into a phone. I wanted that phone so bad. That was my first cell phone. That was the first cell phone
I never had a cell phone, the flip phone that had the keyboard in it. But I remember friends of mine who got it, and I'd mess around with it, and I was like, this is the coolest thing.
Yeah, because you could just text people.
Oh, no, but see, what I miss now, what I really do is I really miss like the keypad where you'd have like the, ABC, right? DEF, GHI, you know what I mean?
Oh, the triple tapping?
The triple tapping. Oh, no. Well, there was one time, this is in 2009, before I had my, I had an iPhone, but it wasn't connected. It was just like, it was just the device, right? But I had my old phone and it was like that. And I was driving from San Diego to Portland, and I'm driving through it's like 2 a.m. and I'm in my friend's truck. I'm driving. He's asleep. I'm texting my dad while I'm driving through a snowstorm. Okay. But it's keeping me focused because I'm just texting him with one hand. I'm just and I'm just remembering where I need to text, from like the muscle memory of being a prolific texter.
Yeah, because after a while, it's just second
nature. So I
know people that could text that fast before the keyboards, and I'm like, and I remember the Sidekicks and the Nokias, and those are great, and I loved those, and I remember being so anti touchscreen because I couldn't text.
Well, see, for me, I use speech to text for everything. And that fucks up a lot.
Mine never worked because you'd get weird words. You know what I mean?
But that's because you can't speak too good.
But yeah, the fact that you can even do that in today's technology blows my mind.
Well, I mean, the stuff now is really, really intuitive. Google speech to text is really intuitive, but it's certain words. I was trying to text the DM group today, and I said, talk about John Campea, and I'm driving, and I'm like. And I'm just like, John Campea said this, and it just goes like Fawn Campea, blah, blah. And I'm like, fuck it, they'll know what I'm saying. You know, like they'll get
You
what
know
I'm
what's
trying to
crazy
say.
though? Us being from that generation, guys like you and me, a lot of guys like my uncle, and he's not much older than me. That's why he's more like a brother than an uncle. But he's what's that word where you're scared of tech? He just hates technology. He hates it. He can't stand it. He hates cell phones. He loves his Xbox because I had to teach him how to use one,
Yeah.
but he hates it. And some people just didn't roll with the changes. Like my mom and dad, they didn't roll with the change. I gotta download movies for my dad and put them on a flash drive for him because I finally taught him how to stream and get all these streaming things. But before that, like guys like you and me, we saw it. We were like, look, we've either got to get a familiar and roll with the changes on this technology, or the world's going to leave us behind. To be my age at 48, because I'm going to tell you right now, I am in my phone all the time, man. Like I can't imagine life without my phone. My whole world's on my phone. And I used to be like against that shit. And now oh my God, I've become part of the system. I'm one of the cogs in the watch, you know what I mean? But look, you stream, you've had two successful channels now. You're familiar with technology, format, all those things. A lot of people our age, you talk to them about this stuff, Maddie, and it's like speaking Japanese to someone that doesn't know, you know what I mean? Like they have no fucking clue what we're talking about. If we said AVI or MP4 or MVP, they wouldn't have the fucking clue what we're talking about.
See, what's funny about that, right, is like in my friend group, like in friend groups, everyone has a skill. Think of it like a party in D&D, right? Everyone masters a skill. Like you had the friend that was a cook. You had the friend that was a mechanic. You had the friend that was a carpenter or who was good with their hands, right? And then I was always the one who was good with electronics or good with like the entertainment side of things. Like that was my job, my role and everything. So it's like, I'd get the call like, hey, my shit isn't working. Can you come over and fix it? Yeah, not a problem. I'm on my way. But then I'd be like, yo, my car is broken. And my friend's like, I'm on my way to
rebuild my carburetor.
Exactly. Like, no, I had a buddy of mine, like when my Mercedes broke down, really good friend of mine, like he took it to a shop and he fucking installed a new radiator, a new alternator, a new water pump. I spent like $2,200 on getting my Mercedes fixed. He did all the work for free. I just bought him burritos and beer,
Yeah.
And we've been good friends since high school. So it's like,
I used to go to my cousin because I didn't know how to like, hey man, I want to pirate this movie. I want to do this. I want to do that. Man, my computer crashed. What's going on? And it'd be something simple. Like he'd be like, Chris, you have 133 windows open right now. No wonder your computer's slow as a fucking snail. You see these X's? They're there for a fucking reason, Chris. And now he comes to me when his computer's messed up, and he's the one that taught me. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this though. I ended up getting my neighbor was like that with me, right? My neighbor would be all like, hey Matt, can you like help me out with this? Cause he would always like win. He was really good at winning radio station contests. And I mean that literally. If there's a concert in town, he would get tickets.
Sometimes he just hit that redial 1,000 times.
Because his job, he worked for San Diego Power and Electric, right? SDP and oh God, whatever the fuck it is. Or SDPG&E. And so like a lot of it was, he did the road maintenance stuff. So he was like, set up the cones, like you're done, that you just wait around. Right. And so he would just like fucking call. And he would always win. And I mean this, like he used to send me down to like the local radio stations to go pick up in his name. Like he would go, oh, hey, I won. I put it in your name. Can you go get it? And I'm like, yeah, all right. And he's all cool, man. Like I got like 5 tickets to go to the show. Like you want to go? And I'm like, yeah, all right. Like, or him and my stepdad would go to concerts all the time. He would like win everything, like all the time and shit. So like, he's really good at that, but he's terrible at everything else. So like, he would call me and he'd be like, hey, I just bought this new like 150-inch TV and this new sound system. Can you help me hook the sound system up? I'll pay you. And I'm like, yeah, all right. I head over, help him set it up, and it's like, mostly I just do all the work and shit. But then it was funny. One time he comes over, he's like, dude, man, I need your help with something. I'm like, what's up, Don? He goes, my computer's locked. My computer's locked and I need help. It's my wife's laptop and, it's got some, Obama wants money from me. And I'm like, what? So he brings it over and he just opens it up and it's just like a picture of Obama, and it was a ransomware. He clicked
Oh,
on something he
yeah,
shouldn't,
yeah,
and what it was is he was using his wife's laptop to watch porn,
exactly.
and he clicked on the wrong thing, and he's like, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do, and I'm just like, all right, fuck, dude, hold on. So I go to my
Yeah.
computer, I look up what it is. I'm like, okay, I just go into his files, delete, done, you're good.
Yeah, you're
You
good,
know,
man.
like you're good. Just I'm like, be careful what you click.
And by the way, here's how you erase your browser history.
Yeah, it's just like you do that shit, you know what I mean? But like that was my job with my friends, and and the funny things you talk about the whole piracy angle of it, dude. A lot of my friends were really into piracy. They had like I've mentioned this the fucking binders full of bootleg movies. You know what I mean? Like just the binders full of movies. And one of my friends would like print out stickers, the labels. He'd print out box art and like get his blank cases from eBay
Yeah, and
and
then
like
you
just
go
make
out
these like
DVDs,
VCD
yeah,
like
burn
yeah
them.
things, and you're like, I mean, we would like bring those to work and like open up my CD case. All right, what do you guys want? What do you guys want to watch tonight? Here's what I got. And then once it became digital and that became a lot easier to get, it was like I'm never burning another DVD again.
Yeah, I remember going to see Revenge of the Sith and then coming home and being able to watch it that night because one of my friends had, and it was the early version where you could still see the numbers running. Perfect
Oh,
copy, like a screener copy, but you could see the numbers running at
weird
the
that
top
that
and the
got out.
bottom.
That's
But
fucking
it
weird
got
that that
out.
got
I
out.
couldn't believe it. I was like, wow.
My favorite one that ever leaked early was a work print of Jason X. And I ended up was given a copy of it from a friend, and I watched the work print of Jason X like 4 months before it hit theaters.
Yeah, I got the X-Men Origins Wolverine where they didn't even have the
Oh, dude,
special effects put in it
we
yet.
all had that.
Remember with
We all
the
had that.
drawing board and everything, and I was like,
Yeah,
wow.
we all had that back in 2009, man. I'll tell you this though, on that one, like I knew it came out, and like all my friends got their hands on it. And of course, like they'll talk about it amongst each other, but like they'll never say it publicly. And so like, but everyone was watching it. Everyone had it.
I
And but I actually held off. I fucking held off until right before the movie came out. I got sick, and
so
I,
you
I
had to
was
watch
I
it.
was at home, and I was like, I just was like, my girlfriend Ashley, one of her friends had given her a copy of it. I said everybody fucking had this movie. It was not even a joke. People who don't
No,
even engage in this shit
yeah,
had a fucking DVD copy of X-Men Origins Wolverine. This was everywhere.
yeah.
So
My
I'm like,
girlfriend
all
actually
right.
brought me one.
Yeah,
She
I
brought me
sat I'm
one
like,
home because
yeah, I
she
laid
knows
in
I'm a
bed and
huge Wolverine simp. I
yeah,
am.
we laid in bed and I was like not feeling well. We pop it in, we watch it, and I was like, I like it. Like I still to this day like the movie. I don't think it's look the last act has its problems, but I
Oh
enjoy it. I
well,
enjoy
yeah.
it
That's the only part I
for
didn't
the
like.
most part. But I
You get
watched
the
the
great
the
story about the dog tags, how he got his name, Quakewatsu, the Moon and the Wolverine. Come on, man, it's a great movie.
yeah, like
I
I
really enjoy
enjoyed
it.
X-Men Origins Wolverine. And then when it came out in theaters, guess what? Like we had it at the drive-in, so I was already going to see it for free anyway. you know. But I do think like the movie itself didn't have the long lasting appeal, but it was so funny to me like how these things leak out. I mean, like there's been other ones over the years. Like now there's like Lost Media is a very interesting like subreddit. And also it's on Twitter too. You can find like I saw somebody a while back post a lost scene from Norbit where like the dog is talking to Norbit and just like chewing him out. And it was just Eddie Murphy yelling at Eddie Murphy effectively. And I'm like, that was pretty cool. Like, little things like that, like where you find these odds and ends.
Yeah, and now we're in a day and age where people are literally like, I mean, you used to have to go out and look for that, or you'd have to wait for the Blu-ray to get the deleted scenes or whatever. And YouTube gives
Well,
you all
that was
that.
back, but that was back when they had the money to be able to invest into the home media.
Right. And
Like
but
now
now
they
we're in a
don't do
day and
that.
age where people will freak out on Twitter for a year, 2 years, three, and you like they literally think that they deserve to have an. Oh, well, I didn't like that cut of the movie. I want a whole different cut now. And don't get me wrong, I love the Snyder cut and I want the Ayer cut. There are different cuts I would like to see, but people now have gotten to the point where they feel entitled to that. I didn't really like the way this Wakanda Forever one worked out. Why don't we give us a director's cut? Like, whoa, time out. That's not how it works, guys. They can't just release a whole nother movie.
Well, in many instances, they actually like, the stuff does get scaled down, but yeah, I feel like one of my, what was it? The Chronicles of Riddick which I really liked.
Yeah, I
But
love that whole trilogy,
but
including the
when
cartoon. Yeah,
Dark Fury was really good.
yeah.
And then of course, if you haven't played or ever watched a playthrough of Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from Butcher Bay, you need to. It should have been a fucking movie. It's so goddamn good. Have you ever played that? Did you ever play Escape from Butcher Bay?
No, I've never
It
played
was
any.
the Riddick prequel story. So how he gets the eye shine.
No, fuck no. That's a
That
thing.
that dropped in like 2003, dude.
It's a
2003,
game.
2004. It's a game. I think it was 2004. It was on Xbox,
Is there a way
PC.
to just watch the cutscenes?
Yeah, dude. No,
Okay,
no.
that's
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah. You just look it up on YouTube. Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from Butcher Bay. Vin Diesel voiced Riddick. It's done by Starbreeze Entertainment. It was their first game.
No, I'm in. You had me at there's some Riddick material you haven't seen. You had me at that, bro.
Oh, dude, and it
Yeah.
is better in my opinion than Chronicles of Riddick and Riddick the movie. You know,
Because I've always wondered how he got that shine and why did he lie to what is a kid's name, boy's name for girls. I dig that, but yeah, why did he lie to her? And Chronicles of Riddick, because she's like, remember when she snaps on him? She said, "Is there anything you told me that was fucking true?"
oh yeah.
Yeah, like I would love to see how he really got the shine and all that stuff there. Because I love the one with him and Katie Sackhoff in it. That's one of the best. Just Riddick, I think, is what it's called.
Yeah, you're saying that though because you get to see Katie Sackhoff tit. That's
No, I forgot
You
about
get the
that.
boobies.
I just really like Katie Sackhoff. I was not a big Katie Sackhoff fan until like even though I loved her as Starbuck, it was that bathtub scene with her and Wallowitz in the whatever Big Bang Theory. And I was like, wow, Katie Sackhoff cleans up nice, because I'd only ever saw her in tomboy mode as Starbuck, on Battlestar Galactica. So yeah, but I love all the Riddick stuff, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I come in here to talk about Tarantino. I just took your fucking stream a whole new direction. We always do this, man. We always get sidetracked. Anyway, my whole point about all this, what we're talking about, is that time changes. Times change. We go from VHS to where we're at now. I didn't mean to derail, but I think we buried the lead long enough. I'm sorry. I didn't mean.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I always bury the lead anyway, and I always get yelled at for it. So it is what it is. But what I'm trying to do with these streams now is like I'm going to try to do 1 or 2 videos during the day of like a bigger topic, and then I'll just like have more of a casual hangout stream at night.
Today.
I just feel that's probably better that way, because like otherwise I put out the long stream. If I put out the individual clips, like it's just people don't see it. So it's fine.
I think you put up 2 videos today.
I did. Yeah. I was also like really frustrated because I was yelling at Max on his stream. I don't know if you saw that.
No, but I can imagine why, because the video he put out today, like, look, man, I love Max, but that first video before his stream where he's like, I'm just going to do a short stream and it's really not that important. If it's not that important, you just spent an hour and 15 minutes, like trying to tell everybody that, basically that whole stream, I don't want to get sidetracked, but basically that whole video is just Max saying, well, I'm going to believe what I'm going to believe, and James Gunn is a liar. That's pretty much what it sounded like he was saying to me, man. Like, oh, you really think they're in a contract just because James Gunn says they're in a contract? Why would Henry Cavill do this and Henry Cavill do that? And I'm just like, wow, this is going to get heated later, because I saw the tweet, okay? And there's really nothing you can do, but there is really nothing you can do, Maddie, except BTFO when the actual head of DC says, you're a liar. That's it. Yeah. Now you got to shut the fuck up. Take that L, bro. You and your whole squad. Skywalker the Jedi can take that fucking L. All of his little cronies can take that L. Fucking definitely Phil and Mikey can take that L. I'm sorry, I'm going to rant. I'm just going to shut up about it. But I know exactly why you got heated. Fuck them motherfuckers. They can all take that L now. And I'm sorry. I love Max, but Max can take that L too. Like, I'm sorry, man. Like, Max is always this fence rider,
Well, we were talking about the James Gunn stuff today, and Max he got off work and he jumped because RJ was hosting it, and then Max is in the chat and he just goes, should I play video games or should I come on? And everyone's and I'm like, go play video games.
Yeah, don't come
and
in here,
I'm like,
Max.
just go play video games.
Hurt. You're gonna get your feelings hurt.
And then like, RJ's like, no, come on. I want to get his take. And I'm all like, it's gonna be bad. Because I already know where this is going.
Gator, bro.
Oh, dude, he totally is. And RJ, I don't know if he's over on Enosh's stream or not. I know like there's
He's
apparently
doing his victory laps, but you guys deserve one. You know, you guys.
well, no,
deserve it.
yeah. I mean, I don't really, I don't really care. I don't
you're
like bullshit.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. You know.
Yeah, but for me, it was really funny because I'm just like, Max came on in and then he's all like, well, you don't know that. I'm like, here's what we do know. This is factual. This has been proven. This has been talked about. And then this is like the reality of this is, you know, yes, we don't know, but here's like speculation that's based in reality versus speculation just because you want to be a contrarian. But the biggest thing I don't like about Max is that like when I'm trying to make a point and he cuts me off.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, let me get to the end of my point. And then he just keeps cutting me off. And I'm like,
that's what you two got into an argument about last time.
That's yeah. So we got into about last time too. And then he's like, well, I don't know. I'm like, well, then if you don't know, no. Cause what it was is I told him, I'm like, cause he goes, well, Henry Cavill could have 2 contracts. And I'm like, I'm just like, oh
that's not how that, what?
And I'm just like, okay. So I said, go find me definitive proof of that happening.
That almost never happens.
It never happens.
And when it does happen, it's very, very rare that any studio will allow that, man. Like for real. Like I don't know where that's flawed logic, and that's me putting it nice, bro.
Okay, well, I had said to him, I said, then stop talking about it because you obviously aren't going to do the research to back up your point. So don't talk about it. Like and he got real mad at that. He's like, no, I'm not going to stop talking about it. I'm like, well, don't expect to be treated fairly over it then.
Well, the biggest chink in Max's armor has always been, with the exception of the fence riding. I don't like the fence riding, man. I really don't. One side or the other. You know what I mean? Like pick a side, stay. But the biggest chink in Max's armor has always been the fact that he will tell everybody that facts are more important than feelings, and you can't let your feelings and your emotions get involved. But then he drives off of his emotion. Like he does.
He really does. And I do too.
Yeah, but you admit it. And so do I. My emotion, come on, man. People have heard me go off. I'm a fucking lunatic sometimes.
Dude, I felt bad because like my daughter heard me yell. Cause like I thought that they were in the other room and stuff. And she had come by the bathroom to go, because she had to go potty. And then she just hears me yelling at him, and she's like, "Are you okay?"
Can you imagine like your little girl just going, "Daddy, why is Daddy so mad at Superman?"
I just said like, she's like, "Who are you yelling at?" And I'm like, "I'm yelling at Max," because she knows Max, because she'll be like, "Oh, how's Max? Did we talk to him today?" I'm all like, "No," and she's like, "I'm like, I was yelling at Max." "Oh, why?" "Because he's being stupid." I was just fucking pissed.
Is that what you guys got into it about today, or was it just
it was kind of the same thing. It was like about this whole contract dispute. Benson here for £2. Thank you. It says never trust a grown man in a kid's mask. I do think that it's for adults, but yeah, I get your point. I'm just saying it's like, look, like when we do, this is the thing. If you're talking about James Gunn and calling out Mikey Sutton, and I proved in the video, I proved that Mikey just invented the word contract and added it in there.
But Mikey invents half of what he.
No, you know I know, but it's like, but that's what James Gunn is responding to. And I'm like talking about, Henry Cavill's contract. And it's like, look, the contract, they haven't upped it yet. They haven't put it together yet. It's still something they're working on. It's going to take a little bit of time. But what I think happened is that, The Rock was able to kind of promised Henry to come back. Cause I do think that they were going to bring in Hiram Garcia to oversee things. I think that he was trying to get Hiram in at DC Films to take over for Hamada, and that fell through, or that never picked up any steam, and it went to Peter Safran and James Gunn, and that's just like that just threw everything that Seven Buck Productions had in play out the window.
Yeah, or maybe, just maybe, look, it's been argued about for so many years now. Maybe Cavill was just, I know this, I hate to be that guy, okay, but maybe Cavill's just like, all right, I owe these motherfuckers one more movie. Let's just do it.
Well, he came out and he basically acted as like kind of like PR for Black Adam as well.
Yeah,
he's like, I'm back. You're going to see more of me. I'm looking forward to being a hopeful and joyful Superman. Everyone was interviewing him about it. He was talking about it. As surface level as he possibly could. without going into the full details of how it all came together. But he's leading people to believe that he's back,
He
which
probably
what
does have another contract in the works, but for Mikey
but
to
they're
say
probably
that the
talking
script
about it.
is
Yeah.
written and this is done, and look, I know a lot of people aren't happy with the James Gunn thing. I'm gonna go ahead and say that I am happy with it. I hope he pulls it off. But how refreshing is it to have a head of DC now that's an actual being called a DC studio, and that this guy has interacted with the fans more than anybody else ever has already. In this small amount of time, James Gunn is coming out on Twitter and saying, look, this is what we're doing. He's trying to keep everybody in the loop, the fans in the loop. I think that's refreshing, because all we got before that was What's-Her-Face's article where she was like, yeah, fuck Zack Snyder. What was that girl's name? You know which one I'm talking about, right?
No.
She was the head of DC that basically came out and said,
"Oh, Ann Sarnoff." She wasn't the head of DC. She was the head of she was like underneath Toby Emmerich or whatever.
Right. But she had clout. She had
clout. Yeah,
right.
She had clout, and
up until then, we would never really see anything. And Zack, as much as I like Zack, he plays games. I'm sorry, I love Zack Snyder, but he plays games on Twitter. He puts that shit out there so people will get into this feeding frenzy. A fucking turkey and a book don't mean shit to me. I'm sorry. That's just Zack.
We're 2 days. We're 2 days away from the next turkey image.
Yeah, what's he gonna do this year?
Yeah.
He finally came out not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, and said, "Look, I haven't talked to DC. They haven't talked to me. No,
that doesn't mean he's not gonna fucking troll.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean he's not gonna troll.
No, he will. And people, I get it. It's funny. If I was Zack, I'd probably fuck with people too. You know what I mean? But when it gets to the point where fandoms have become so toxic on both sides, the toxic positivity and the toxic negativity, like." Eventually you just got to go, okay, enough's enough.
Yeah.
I gotta set the record
just
straight.
Here's
no
what I
one's
want,
ever
Chris.
done that.
Here's what I want. You know what all I want right now is just Peacemaker season 2.
Yeah,
that's all I want. That's all I want. That's
all I want.
I'm like, look, give me a roadmap, but tell me when we're going to be able to go back to that squad. That's what I want. That's what I want to see. You know, and like, was it the 13th Street Kids or whatever the fuck they call themselves or whatever? You know, I want to see what's going to happen with that, because I was invested into that series. I loved all the characters, and I can't wait to see what they do with it next. So, you know what? And then everything else is going to be gravy on my end. I think what it is again, it's the uncertainty of where things are. We don't know where things are going. We do know that there's a Bible being written, but again, like, Henry Cavill may not be a big part of that thing. I think he will, because it's kind of stupid to waste it, if you want my honest opinion.
Yeah, but what I mean, Matt, is how refreshing is it to not have
to
get
absolutely. Yeah.
We've got a guy who runs the shit telling us flat out.
That's the thing, though, is like, let me ask you this, and then there are some super chats to get to, but like, I postulated this earlier. Postulate. I'm getting fucking tired. But like, I had suggested this earlier, that maybe he's just trying to like kneecap all these scoopers so they won't talk about it. And so when it actually happens, it's going to be a big ass surprise.
Yeah, which is what people want. I mean, I don't mind a few scoops here and there, but I want surprises. Had somebody spoiled that Luke Skywalker moment for me in Mandalorian, I'd have been pissed. You know what I mean?
Like, we thought it was going to happen. Like, a lot of us were speculating about that happening,
but we didn't know what was going to happen. And when we saw it was badass Luke in his prime, that's a big moment, you know?
Well, because you see an X-Wing through a grayscale monitor, and you're like, okay, is it is it Wolf Trapper? No, not Ahsoka. Is it Wolf Trapper? Dave Filoni's character? Or like, is it going to be the other guy, the other Ranger that maybe like happened to just be cruising by? Because they had popped up a couple times in the season.
Yeah.
So is it going to be
they might
that?
Even try to sneak what's his face in that went away with the space whales.
Thrawn or Ezra. Well, that's coming.
Ezra.
That's
I
coming.
thought it might even be Ezra. You know what I mean?
Sure, it could. Yeah, I mean, maybe. But then it's like, but when Grogu's ears perk up, you're like, oh my god, I know who it is. You know, and but at the same time, you're like, is it really that person? Because they cut around it so well.
Maddie, when I saw the glove,
I cried.
Me and Scott cried.
I fucking cried, dude. I was like so happy.
Yeah, my lifelong friend, Star Wars, since we were kids together, every toy, every collection, we still collect it this day. When we saw the green lightsaber and the black glove, we were like, no. And then we saw the black glove and the green lightsaber, we both just jumped off the couch and started crying. I have no problem admitting
check this out. So Zachary says here, I had the whole Han Solo dies spoiled for me before I saw The Force Awakens. I was pissed. Dude, I had it spoiled for me too. Somebody faked a news article and sent it to me as a potential story subject line. And like 2 sentences into the article, it was like yada yada yada. Han Solo was killed by his son, Kylo Ren.
That's 2 spoilers.
And I was like, mother. Well, I was like, motherfucker. They spoiled it for me. So that night I saw the movie, and I saw it coming and whatever, and I was like, God damn it. And then like, but I'll tell you this though, man. After the movie was over, I walked outside the theater. My girlfriend and I were waiting for the bus to come pick us up, and she was like, "Oh, how'd you like it?" And I just started crying, and I was like, because it still affected me. It still impacted me.
Well, I love
Look,
The Force Awakens.
yeah, dude, I unequivocally
like,
love The Force Awakens.
and
The
I'm
Last
one of the
Jedi
few
can
people.
still suck my taint,
Yeah,
but fucking,
same with that. There's parts of it
I
that
will
love,
watch The Force Awakens.
but I'm one of the few people that really enjoys Rise of Skywalker. I just do. I enjoy that. I mean, I don't ever really want that much fan service in every movie, but I understand JJ was like, "Look, we've got to please everybody somehow. How the fuck are we gonna do this?"
They really tried, yeah. So all right, a couple things to get to here because we are coming up on the last 20 minutes because of Andor season finale. So I do want to watch that before I go to bed tonight. If you have you seen Andor yet?
Oh man, I'm purposefully not. I'm all caught up except for last week's episode. I wanted to be able to watch them
Oh,
back.
okay. You want to watch it back
I
to
want
back?
to go
Yeah, I
back to
get that.
back. But
Well,
yeah,
then we better hurry up so you can do that tonight then, because it's not that longest. The last week's episode is not the longest episode, but it's still
I'm
really
loving
good.
it. I'm loving it. It almost lost me. It almost lost me. That jump, that time jump where nothing was happening. I'm like, it almost lost me.
See, I liked it though. I liked the fucking few episodes where like not much was happening. They were building up to the heist. You know, they were
I'm just having so much trouble, Matt, like giving a fuck about Mon Mothma. And I love her as a character. Now it's starting to get interesting, but there for a while, this like whole elitist Coruscant shit, just I was checking out on those parts. And I'm like, what? This makes no sense. But then it all came together. RJ was right. If you watch them in threes, even if you didn't like them, if you watched them all live that week, go back and rewatch them in threes. It's like a little mini movie. It's like
okay, I can see that. I can see that. Yeah, I still think that. But once they get to the prison, though, you got to admit, though, the prison shit was amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing, especially at Prison Break. I loved it. I don't know why. I told Max this last week. I don't know why, but that Prison Break part, for some reason, was making me emotional, and I couldn't. I still can't. Put my finger on it.
You've been in.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. And people say you can't make friends in prison. That's a lie. Some of the best men I've ever met in my life are in prison. They're still there. They're never coming home. But you know, that redemption arc of Cassian, where he was going to each level and he wasn't going to leave anybody behind.
Yeah,
you know, he was so selfish at the beginning of this story. And now it's like, look, Max was like, could it be a double entendre thing where he's just using them so they'll be cannon fodder to help him get out? Or does he really care about those people getting out? And when Andy Serkis said, I can't swim, I got goosebumps, bro. The hair stood up on my arm.
Yeah, well, because what sucks about that is like, you know, he says, I can't swim. And before Cassian can do anything, he falls off. He gets pushed off. So it's like, you don't know what happened to Kilo Roy. And, you know, Tony Gilroy is like, look, he's like, you didn't see him die. So,
No.
you know, you didn't see him die.
Real quick, Shiny 311. He said, oh, I thought Chris was talking that. Interesting little, just, I know it's not a big claim to fame, but the prison where they film Prison Break is the same prison where they filmed the beginning of Blues Brothers. I paroled from that prison in 1994. True story, bro. It's not really Foxer. It's called the Joliet Correctional Center. Yeah, it's in Joliet, Illinois.
Well, is it Joliet or Joliet?
Well, I say Joliet because I'm from Chicago. We say Joliet, but it's actually pronounced Joliet. Yeah.
Yeah, because they called him Joliet Jake and the Blues Brothers.
But yeah, I paroled from
I know my fucking Elwood Brothers.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
Or Jake and Elwood Blues.
I know. When you go to get your clothing, and when you first get to prison, they got to give you clothes. You're not allowed to wear your shit.
Fucking
there's
Frank
a line
Oz.
there.
Frank Oz in that cameo.
Yeah, there's a
one
line
condom used.
Yeah, used, and he's like, yeah. You pick me up in a cop car. Look, there's a line right there where it says, you know, John Belushi stood here, and then on the wall it says, "This is where they filmed so and so." That's where he says that. One condom used. That's where you actually get clothing and your bedding and everything when you first get there. So I've literally stood at that desk where the prophylactic.
God damn, that movie's
All
great.
right, I'm done. I
I
gotta let
fucking
my.
love Blues Brothers, man. You know, I just that whole line. It's 100 miles. What's 110 miles to Chicago? We got I got a half tank of gas, a full
Dark.
pack of smokes. It's
You're
dark,
wearing
and we're wearing
sunglasses.
shades or sunglasses. Let's
That
roll.
that whole that's one of my favorite car chases of all time.
Well, that movie has the best car chases of all time. I think. I think it
It's
has
so fun. And
some
that
of the best car chases. Like,
Pinto that's falling for like 9 minutes off
but not only,
off
do
the
you
loop.
have like just the excellent, you know, John, Belushi and Aykroyd. You got John Candy, you got Carrie Fisher. I mean, like Scatman Crothers.
God, and
Fucking
she was so gorgeous, man.
oh
That
yeah.
I
Well, she
mean,
was yeah, absolutely. And the fact that she was with Dan Aykroyd at that point in time,
yeah, that's just
like
crazy,
that's so
man.
weird. You're all like,
Here's something
really?
I
All
didn't
right.
know. I always sidetrack, but I didn't know that Carrie was married to Paul Simon at one point. I didn't
Oh,
know that.
have you ever heard Kevin Smith talk about that?
No, I had no. I just learned that, and I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I just learned that.
He was furious that they were married. He's like, I wouldn't listen to Paul Simon after that. Like,
Oh,
he
that's
was just,
crazy, man. And
I'm
then
all like,
Carly Simon, who also dated Paul Simon. Apparently, this Paul Simon guy, as ugly as he is, gets a lot of really fine
musicians
looking
get pussy,
trim.
dude. Musicians
And
get pussy.
dogs them all. He treats them all like shit. He treated
Well,
Carly
that's a
Simon like
problem.
shit. He treated Stevie Nicks like shit. He treated Carrie Fisher like shit. Like this guy is just not an abuser, but he's like mentally abusive. You know, like I guess I don't know. I don't know.
Well, Shiny here says, I can imagine the cocaine use on the set for that movie. Wasn't there a cocaine budget for that movie? Wasn't that the one where there's a cocaine budget
Well, Blues Brothers, yeah,
for Blues Brothers? Yeah.
yeah.
Dude, I haven't watched a movie in so many years.
Even
Reed
the
here
nun
says,
that
is
beat him up was on cocaine. No joke. The nun that was beating him up, even that chick was on cocaine.
no, that makes sense. I just love the line there. So you got to see what the nun's gonna say. No fucking way.
The way I'm going in there. But, dude, that's such a great movie. You're making me. I haven't watched that in a long time, man.
Read Blues Brothers 2000 is rated PG-13. The Blues Brothers is rated R with good reason.
It was one of those really early Saturday Night Live alumni movies.
But it's a classic. It's a fucking classic. That was James. Was it James L. Brooks that did?
No. It might be. I don't know why I always want to say Landis, but that's Animal House. Landis did Animal House. Right?
No, Landis didn't do. No, that was Harold Ramis who did Animal House.
Okay, it was Ramis that did Animal House. What did Landis do? Oh, he did American Werewolf in London.
That was he did. Yeah. Who directed that one? It was let's see here. Oh no, John Landis did direct Blues Brothers. Okay.
So it was Landis. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, screenplay by Dan Aykroyd, John Landis. It had a budget of $30 million and only grossed 27.5.
And now it's like one of the biggest classics of all time.
That is like what you got to read, dude. The fact that you had Aretha Franklin in the movie and you had fucking James Brown in the movie. Ray Charles. I mean, like the music is off the fucking chart amazing in that movie. The greatest car chase scene of all time. Like, it's just, that movie is so goddamn iconic in so many fucking ways. They didn't know what I'm just going to say it, Chris. The 80s didn't know how fucking good they had it.
No, they didn't.
They really didn't.
They didn't know how good they had it, man.
They didn't know. They had no fucking idea. It came out June 20th, 1980.
So many amazing movies. I could do a whole stream. I could do a whole week's worth of streams just on 80s content, dude.
Okay, so it was okay. I thought Ramis did Animal House, but okay, John Landis, that doesn't surprise me. I could have sworn Raimi did Animal House.
I don't know why I was thinking Raimi too. I don't know. Ramis. I don't know why, but who's the guy? That,
Harold Ramis, not Raimi. That's Sam Raimi.
Raimi. Okay, and then there were Stripes that got mixed in there at one point, and somebody did. There's like Stripes was really good. Rest in peace to. I really liked him, man. He was. I haven't been able to watch. I haven't watched.
Oh yeah, no, he directed Animal House, then Blues Brothers, then American Werewolf in London. Then he did like the Twilight Zone, the movie. He did Spies Like Us. He did Clue. Oh no, he only executive produced Clue. He directed Three Amigos. He did Coming to America. He did Oscar, Beverly Hills Cop 3. He did The Stupids, which is a very interesting movie.
It's so weird.
Blues Brothers 2000, yeah. And then the last movie he directed was 2010's Burke and Hare, that was starring Simon Pegg. and
Do you
Andy
remember
Serkis.
Stripes?
Uh,
Bill
let's see.
Murray and the
What
guy
kind of
Venkman.
Where have you been? Training,
Yeah,
sir.
that one.
What kind of training? Army training.
Sir.
Dude, are you
That's a great.
kidding me?
Okay, well, I didn't know. I didn't
What's
know that.
Yeah, no, Harold Ramis did Stripes. That was right. Harold Ramis
What's
did
his
Stripes.
name? Venkman. I keep forgetting his name. He had a. I hear.
Bill Murray?
No, it's not Venkman I'm thinking of. Then he appeared. I don't want to spoil it because I haven't watched it yet, but it got spoiled for me. He's in the new Ghostbusters movie as a ghost. Oh, a very emotional scene.
Well, I mean, yeah, that would be Harold Ramis because he would come back.
Oh, that's Harold Ramis. That's okay.
Yeah, well, actually, surprise. So the actor who played the Harold Ramis ghost in Ghostbusters Afterlife was actually. Do you remember Shawshank Redemption?
Yeah, of course.
The warden.
Oh wow!
The warden from Shawshank was the body double or was the actor portraying Egon Spengler, the human form of the shadow.
Spengler.
Yeah. So, but there.
I was getting Ramis mixed up with. I think I'm getting him mixed up with.
Yeah,
the guy that Lorne Michaels.
Well, Lorne Michaels is a producer.
Yeah,
he's a producer of all that shit. Yeah. Anyway, let's see here. Darskipio says John Landis directed The Twilight Zone, where Vic Morrow was killed by a helicopter. Landis got away scot-free for his negligence. Unbelievable. I mean, look, I'll say this: that's a tragedy beyond all belief. But Hollywood will get you away with fucking murder. You know.
Yeah.
And it's H. Bartz is right. His career has never been the same. And then you had Max Landis, his son, who came on the scene 10 years ago with Chronicle and kind of like blew up a little bit. And then after that, he ended up like, he's kind of tanked his own career from some of the allegations against him. But anyway, there are some super chats here to get to. Yeah. All right. Command Unit here for 5. Thanks, buddy. Says, can I rant about Warhammer Plus Games Workshop created an entire streaming service for its IPs, and they so far only have a few fan projects that they funded? I mean, you've mentioned that before, and that's really interesting that they've done that. But I mean, are they making the money? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what kind of profit Warhammer brings in. Considering the stuff that you've shown, it looks like the stuff does pretty well in regards to view count. I mean, obviously Henry Cavill's a massive fan, and they clearly have shops. I live in a small town and there's a shop here for Warhammer. So like clearly there's a market for it. But I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I need to look into Warhammer Plus. I do. All right. Zachary here, did bring this one up. I did want to get to the other thing with Quentin Tarantino, but we'll talk about this real quick. He says here, I reread the article about the Bambi horror movie again. I'm pretty confident it's mostly fake. Sorry for wasting your time with it. Well, here's the thing with that. Here's the article right here that you sent me. I did see it. I just hadn't got around to it yet. It says Bambi becomes a vicious killing machine, a new childhood ruining horror reimagining. Now, they say here that 2022 is the year of our childhood died. And no, not because of the climate crisis. First, Dread Central exclusively reported that the upcoming Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, a slasher take on the Little Bear in a Red Shirt. That's coming out next year on theaters, actually. Now we can exclusively report that ITN Studios and Jagged Edge Productions, that's not edgy,
right?
Is back with There's actually a turn-based game series called Jagged Edge, which is actually really good.
There's an old Jeff Bridges movie called Jagged Edge. It's incredible.
Yeah. Well, there we go. We need to start bringing the jagged little pill, right? There's another little reference to Alanis Morissette.
Jagged Edge is about a serial killer, and he uses a certain kind of knife with a serrated edge on the top. And it stars Jeff Bridges and I can't remember the blonde's name. I think she was in Fatal Attraction. Or no, it might have been Meryl Streep, whatever. But yeah, that's the only Jagged Edge I've ever heard of.
She might have been in Fatal, like what, Glenn Close?
It might have been Glenn Close, but it could be Sybil Shepherd. I can't remember.
All the blondes looked the same back then.
Back then they all looked the same. I just remember Jeff Bridges killed it. Jeff Bridges kills it in everything he's in, though.
Yeah, he's great. He's absolutely great. All right, so this time these guys are back and they're tackling Bambi, the sweet deer with a traumatic past in a forest full of fluffy.
Hey man, if I was Bambi, I'd be pissed too, man. The credits were still rolling when they killed off her dad. Fuck yeah, man. Get your fix on, Bambi.
So production begins. So there's an IMDb listing here Zachary. So production begins in late January 2022 for the currently untitled project, even though it's called Bambi: The Reckoning. So how is it untitled? That's kind of a little bit of a funny thing there. We don't have any plot details, but there's an obvious revenge angle after the tragic death of his mother. Scott Jeffrey is slated to direct the film, who work alongside producer Reese Frake Waterfield, who directed the already infamous Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. So Jeffrey says this film will be an incredibly dark retelling of the 1928 story we all know and love, finding inspiration from the design used in Netflix's The Ritual. Bambi will be a vicious killing machine that lurks in the wilderness. Prepare for Bambi on rabies. So the creature design of The Ritual is massive and one of the most memorable from the last decade. So that comparison conjures up the images of a giant deer with extra limbs covered in blood. This isn't your grandma's Bambi. That's for sure. That's a great line, by the way. That should absolutely
Wait, Bambi was a boy?
Yes.
I've never seen Disney. I don't watch Disney movies, man. I thought
Dude,
Bambi
at
was
the
a
end
girl.
of that movie, Bambi's got
fucking. Oh, he turns into a buck
dude,
like his dad.
He's got fucking right. Yeah. His mom died. Okay. His mom dies in the beginning of the movie. His dad was already dead, right?
Wow.
But then you learn in Bambi too that his dad didn't really die. That he just went out for a pack of smokes and never came back.
That's fucked up.
Right, but he had another family. It was really weird. The guy was a player.
Dad joke. You're just. You were good for one. I knew there was one coming.
It's getting late. It's getting late here. So anyway, I do want to see that when it comes out, Zachary. That's going to be a lot of fun. Reed here for 5. Thank you. Says check out the Andor in style the 70s show I sent you. All right, so we'll take a quick look here at this. And then we'll get back to the final bit here, which is going to be talking about
Quentin, man. He's so
Quentin,
great.
man.
There's never been a movie by him I don't like, and I can't believe that you have not seen. I can understand not watching Hateful Eight. That's a long, but it's good.
It's just sometimes it came out in the summer of 2019. I was really busy at that time.
Yeah, but trust me, take your time, go watch it. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is also amazing.
Like I own it. Like I own a copy of it. I just haven't watched it.
But Hateful Eight is so good, man. Dude, everybody's in it.
No, it looks at, do I watch cause I own it too. I bought that on Blu-ray, but do I watch it theatrical or do I watch the extended version?
No,
on Netflix?
The extended version's cool. You get I think it's 4 parts.
Yeah.
So you can stop if you want to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you get, a lot more Kurt Russell and you get intermissions and stuff. And it's just really well done, man. It's a great movie. Great movie.
Let's
Walton Goggins kills it in that movie, man.
Well, Walton Goggins, the Jang out. I love that. I love Walton Goggins. That guy, dude. I mean,
he's so versatile. He's so versatile, man.
He's going to be back in Justified. I think that new reboot of Justified that they're doing.
I thought they killed him.
No, he went to jail at the end. He went to
jail. That's right. He went to jail.
And just that whole thing about
I loved him in anything on FX he's been in, Matt. But what really blew my mind was when he played the transgender in Sons of Anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy.
And he crushed it. He fucking crushed it, dude. Like that dude. I love that dude, man. The Shield.
That was so crazy.
It was right. I'm like, oh shit, Walton Goggins got signed on for a role, and oh man, he's gonna be this badass, probably some Nazi type motherfucker. What? When I saw it, I went, what? And it was done so well. Yeah, man, I like Walton Goggins. You got to check out Tarantino's movies. But yeah, what are we watching now? What are we looking at?
Yeah, this is, hold on here. H-Bart says, one day I'll get you a 4K copy of the Lorax. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, buddy. Hold on real quick here. This is here for 5. Thank you. Says Bambi versus Godzilla. What's the best short film ever made? I showed that the other day and I ended up getting a content claim because of the music in that.
Oh, I remember that. They used to show that on MTV a long time ago as a commercial. Is that the one where you just hear the really sweet music and Bambi sitting there and all of a sudden Godzilla's foot crushes Bambi? Yeah, man, that's old school shit. That's back from like Liquid Television days, man.
That's older than Liquid Television days.
Isn't it? Yeah,
it's older than Liquid Television days. So all right, here, this is the Andor intro with spoilers, apparently. I don't know what that means. As reimagined from 1975.
Before there was hope in the galaxy, there was Andor.
Oh, wow. That's really what they used to feel like, man.
I vibe it.
Yeah, I dig it. I already dig it. Yes, I already love it. I already love this shit, dude. This is brilliant.
As a ruthless empire tightens its grip, one man, chosen by happenstance, will rise up to become a leader of a revolution. He is a new kind of hero for a new age. His name is Andor.
Total like Street Hawk Airwolf vibes. I pray that is already up to like 5 million views. That is so good.
What is it? What is it up to here? Oh, the Aeronauts did this. Oh, those guys are great. 122,000 views. It needs
Not
a
bad.
lot
That's
more than that.
Yeah, it needs more. That had like total Airwolf, A-Team, Street Hawk vibes. You know what I mean? Like I remember those old 80s intros. Like what was the one with? Man, there was this brunette Matt. Oh my God, I'm gonna get sidetracked for another second. But there was a show called Hunter.
I remember Hunter.
with
Hunter.
Fred somebody, and there was this girl that was on that show, his partner, the brunette, and she was I don't know, she should have been huge. Like, but she was gorgeous back then, and she caught on back then. But a lot of
Stephanie
people don't know.
Kramer.
Stephanie Kramer. Oh my God, bro. Okay, we need to talk about like something else because I'm getting worked up. Yeah, she was so goddamn.
You're like, I'm gonna need a minute.
Yeah, that was like, to me, that's an 80s goddess, man. I love 80s girls, man. To this day, I still love that look. I mean,
Yeah, she's definitely attractive. Is Fred Dryer still alive?
Fred Dryer. Yeah, Fred Ward, I know he died.
Yeah, Fred Ward
Rest
passed away.
in peace to Remo Williams.
Yeah, man, fucking gotta love. Yeah, oh, he's 76. Yeah, fucking you gotta love Fred Willard too. He also passed away.
Yep. Wow.
God, that's unfortunate, man. Fucking oh God, all the old stuff. Okay, sorry, I'm like having to go to the bathroom, and I'm like, oh no, I gotta get through this. All right, let's get back into it here. So we got Command Unit for $5. Thank you, buddy. Games Workshop is the largest tabletop and miniature maker. They have their own book publishing arm, Black Library. 9 new books announced for the next year. Yeah, and so okay, so clearly it's popular. Clearly it's making some serious green. So like, why haven't they done their own stuff yet? That's always
Maybe I don't know how big it is, but it seems very niche to me. That's just me, though.
Well, it's niche. It's a UK thing. It's really big in the UK. So it's definitely something that has a lot of has love here as well in these here United States.
Yeah, I've seen the Angry Shill talk about it. Angry Shill Army talk about it once in a while, but
yeah,
I don't really know much about it.
Fucking
I'm sorry, I'm taking shots at Joe for no reason, but
no, $7 Joe, no man.
Yeah, I'm taking shots at him. It's just,
I unfollowed him on Twitter, and I unsubscribed on YouTube. I'm like, I just
remember when he used to be great. Everybody, but I'm a petty.
It's one of those things. You know, I was real quick on that as a quick side note though. I saw like a thing where a guy who does like a YouTube guru channel built the channel to over 1 million, like 1.2 million followers and everything else. And then he goes, yeah, I'm quitting. You know, he's like stepping back, and he's like, I figure most YouTubers have about a 5 to 7 years span for content creation. And I'm like, I get that. I'm at like 12 or 10 years. You know, and I feel it. And I'm like, man, I would love to do I like doing this. This is fun.
Yeah.
But like the straight up like hardcore content creation shit.
Having to find content every day. I remember I used to watch Mundane Mad. I know
that shit was fucking tough. Yeah.
But also,
it's
you got to remember, you got to grind. I mean, some people they get lucky,
yeah.
lightning in a jar, but you got to grind for sometimes 5-10 years before you even make it big on YouTube. Like, you
Oh,
gotta
I know.
grind.
I know. I mean, I'm very thankful with the audience I got. You know, it's you guys are great. But it's like that. It's like for me, it's like, what can I do that you know, creates, like, again, brings joy. Like, these conversations are great because they're fun. They're just like we're reminiscing about the old days. But it's like shit that we grew up with that a lot of these younger guys are like, I got no fucking idea.
Yeah, but then some people blow my mind in your chat. I mean, I just saw Spherical Man bring up Riptide. Riptide, like the big pink helicopter, dude. I forgot all about that show.
Ah, God, Rippin' Tide Kid. I don't remember that. Let me look that up here.
It was just called
Let's see.
Riptide, and it had what's his face in it? That brunette actor who was really big at one time. He was in Jake and the Fat Man for a while. Not Michael Pear, the other one, but yeah, Riptide was a
Joe
really
Penny?
fun. Joe Penny. Riptide was a really fun show. They were both Vietnam vets, and they were private investigators. It was Magnum PI with a giant pink helicopter with a mouth on the front of it. It was really, it was a really good show, man.
Oh my God, I've never seen this before.
And it lasted quite a while, man. Like, it was a big show.
It lasted 3 seasons,
yeah.
but yeah, one of the guys here on the cover of this one I'm looking at, he's literally Magnum PI. He's got the mustache. He's got the Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, his best friend. Yeah, literally, dude. Yeah, man. Yeah, there was an episode that stood out for me for some reason with mayonnaise jars and hand grenades. They were like, this is an old Vietnam trick. And I remember my dad telling me about that. You know, like, we would have to stick grenades in glass jars so that we could drop them. And when the jar broke, then the grenade, because if you pull the pin, then throw it down, a lot of times the grenade would blow up before it hit the ground. And I just, for some reason, that episode stood out for me when they were talking about that on Riptide. Riptide, I'm telling you, it's Magnum PI in a helicopter, but it was great.
Nice.
I mean, TC had a helicopter too. He's pretty dope. You know what I mean? But not like this big mammoth of a helicopter. Really fun show. I'm going to shut up now. We keep getting sidetracked.
Ryan here, though, for 5 says, have you seen the Game of Thrones 90s intro? I haven't. If you send it to me on Discord, Ryan, we can bring it up there at the very end because we are getting close to the end here. Command here for 5. Thank you, buddy. Said, he already did. I said it, and then he did it. Thank you. Games Workshop have no problem with giving their IP to random game devs, but they want creative control and they only give specific parts of the IP. I understand that, but it really, in my mind, what that generally means is like this kind of stuff needs to have, like they need to assign a producer to oversee it. You know, I don't think people realize how much of like the development stuff needs to like, it's the same kind of problem I would argue that, like, let's say Microsoft had with the Halo show, right? So or the Halo movie, because they wanted control over it, and that prompted them to not, to like really demand too much out of the movie or out of the companies, and that ended up just causing it all to fall apart. So yeah, I totally understand that, but thank you very much for that. And then also, this is here says, I still want season 3 of Exo Squad, but sadly that will not happen. I am sorry. Thank you again for the $5. Hopefully
Matt,
one
what
day.
is that? I'm sorry. I thought you were done.
No, sorry. I was just taking a drink of my drink here, but no, thank you for that. What's up, Chris?
What was that girl's name from RoboCop? I didn't know this.
Nancy Allen?
I had no idea that she was like a bombshell sex symbol back in the horror days until I watched that In Search of Darkness documentary, the Corey Taylor version. She was in a movie called Dress to Kill. That woman used to be so gorgeous, man.
She was married to Brian De Palma for fucking 5 years.
I can see why, man. Like, Dress to Kill is like one of those early, ahead of its time horror movies, because it dealt with cross-dressing and transgender and all that stuff. And
isn't that the one that's got
what's her name in it for like a split second? They kill her off, Hitchcock style.
No. It's Dress to Kill. That's got Michael Caine.
Exactly, and the blonde.
And who else is in it? Though?
That girl from RoboCop.
Well, yeah. Hold on. It's Dress to Kill. It has Michael Caine, Angie Dickinson, Nancy Allen, Dennis Franz, Brandon. Okay. Oh, God damn it. There's a movie. Do you remember the movie PCU?
Yeah, Political Correct University.
Yeah. There's a whole line there where this guy's like doing his thesis on like Michael Caine movies. And he like is Dressed to Kill, man, the one movie with Michael Caine and somebody else at the same time. I forget the movie though, man, but it's not listed. Maybe it'll be in the fucking.
What kind of paper you doing? You're doing a paper. He goes Sanskrit. She goes. I think he says Sanskrit. She goes Sanskrit.
Sanskrit, a 2,000-year-old dead language. Closest thing I got's like fucking Latin.
That's a great movie. That is a great movie. That movie was ahead of its time too, because look at today's society and how shit is.
Yeah. Call me for the dress scene, the shower scene in Dressed to Kill.
Nancy Allen, man, the part where she's laying on the bed in the lingerie and she's just talking to that dude and she keeps asking that dude if he wants to fuck her. And I'm like, wow. Like, not only is her dirty talk in it, but she's in lingerie. That girl used to be stacked. And I didn't know she was a scream queen. I had no idea she started out as a scream queen. I didn't know that.
Oh, wow. Anyway, I'm looking up screenshots right now, so I'm kind of distracted.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God, Nancy Allen.
Oh, there's some titty. Yeah, there's some.
Yeah, she's badass in that movie, man. And that was really ahead of its time, Hitchcockian style. I just made up a word, Hitchcockian.
It's not. That's not. Trust me, that's not. No, Hitchcockian is very much a word.
Right, because the word I put cock in there, cockian. But it's just really weird because it does that psycho thing where you think, well, Angie Dickinson was a huge star at this time, and they murder her in the elevator like 3 minutes in or something. It's crazy, dude. And it throws you off for the rest of the movie. It's really well done. Anyway, Quentin Tarantino. I'm sorry. I keep doing it, man. I keep doing it, but the chat, I pay attention.
I think you're just coming across like a very big horn dog. Totally get that.
With Nancy Allen,
it's like Kim Cattrall in Porky's.
Yeah, I had my.
You know what I'm talking about.
Man.
You know what I'm talking about.
Lassie. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I got the drop.
Ow! I'm not even gonna lie, man. I can't say it. I almost said it. I'd take a run at Grace too. I don't give a shit. She's pretty hot. She's pretty hot.
Oh,
in a very milk toast.
This is how you self-report that you've been in prison. I'm just saying. This is how you self-report that you've been in prison. You're all like, I take a run at that. She's hot. Like, we get it. You've been locked up. I can understand that.
Yeah, she all right. Hot, I think.
McLeod, calm down, buddy. Calm down. We're just having fun. All right. And then Benson here says, if you liked Andor, try Star Wars Larry. Hilarious. I don't know who that is, but I'll have to look that up there. All right. I got to get through this
water and let you segue. I'll be right back.
Yeah. We'll do this.
You got to go to the bathroom, man. I'm sure people.
I'm holding it until we get through. I can hold it till we get through, but like I'm working on it here. All right.
The best choice on TV, HBO.
I'm a man with a one-track mind, so much to do in one lifetime. Be man for compromise and wisdom wise and living life. So I'm living it all. Yes, I'm living it all, and I'm giving it all, and I'm giving it all. I want it all. I want it all. I want it all, and I want it now. I want it all. I want it all. I want it all, and I want it now. Listen, all you people, come gather round. I gotta give me a game plan. Gotta shake it to the ground. Just give it what I know is mine. People, do you hear me? Just give me the sign. It ain't much I'm asking. If you want the truth, here's to the future for the dreams of you. I want it all. Give it all. I want it all. I want it all. I want it now. I want it all. I want it all. I want it all. I want it
That's total Highlander the series.
It really
vibes.
felt like it. Yeah, it really felt like
Even
that.
with
That
the
is
Queen
true.
song. All right, I just want to say one thing real quick. I understand the chat. Like, the title says one thing, you're supposed to talk about that thing, and me and Mac always get sidetracked, but I always have so much fun talking about him with this kind of stuff that I can't help myself. I wish that you just had a day where you would do a stream where it was just all about that stuff. You know what I mean? But because I understand us wanting to talk about it, but I also understand the chat going, come on, guys, get with the fucking title, man. That's why I came here. So I'm sorry. I don't mean to sidetrack shit, you know?
No, that's okay. That's okay. I think people dipped out in order to go watch.
Arguing.
Is he still arguing?
I don't
don't
know.
even
Just
know.
the chat said they were arguing. Like,
Let
I
me
don't know.
see. Oh, so Williams there, Film Goblin's there, Justin Proper's there. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, hey, good for them. Good for them, you know. I see RJ's in that chat. What the fuck you been, RJ?
He's doing his victory lap, man. He's,
of course.
I mean,
Of course
you know
he
what,
is.
RJ, when it comes to Scylla and Mikey, man, he'll stay up late. He'll do it. He'll do his thing, man.
Oh yeah, no, I get you. I get it. All right, here. So let's get into the final little tidbit here. Quentin Tarantino believes that the Marvelization of Hollywood has killed the movie stars, which he's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
It's based,
Based,
but he's not wrong, man. He's
Well,
not.
it's funny
and
'cause-
I'm a Cape guy. I'm a nerd. You and me, we're those guys, but we also like real films too. Not that came out wrong. Not that the Marvel stuff isn't real.
Yeah.
It's just that it is.
It's
It has
real to
become
me, man.
It has become oversaturated. You know.
Well, I think it's like it is like the Westerns in regards to like how the Westerns were very, very, very huge for a long time. And the Westerns can always make a comeback as long as they're good Westerns. The same thing can be said
you gotta have a good
about
story.
comic book movies. But it is just right now where people are going and I think a lot of it has to do, if I'm being honest, I think a lot of it has to do with the continuity of it, because it is like watching television. It is an event. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
we like
just-
events. We like to kind
exactly.
of think about how popular the Super Bowl is. Never mind how lame football is. You know, but there's a lot
Ow,
more to
Maddie,
this.
fuck,
It's super
what?
lame. All right, like explain to me. Come on, come on.
I'm
What's
just a sports guy. We can't argue about this.
we can't argue. I know. I have to go at some point in
That'd
time
be
tonight.
January 6th again. Like we can't do this.
Jesus Christ! Wait, which one of us is Ashley Babbitt? She went to the same high school as me, apparently. So she was a couple years behind me, so I never met her. But yeah.
But yeah, I totally get it. And as much as I love those movies, and I'm obsessed. I can watch them once a year all the way through. Marvel and DC, even the bad DC stuff. I love it all. The nerd stuff, but it is killing the industry in a it's not like a quick way. It's been happening for about 12 years now, but it's becoming to where if it's not connected to a comic book, people don't want to watch it. And that's fucked up, man. Unless it's like Fast and Furious or some shit like that. Some other I don't want to use the word bloated, but no, yeah, I will. I'll use the word. It's bloated, Matt. It's become bloated. It is. And Quentin's right about that. But at the same time, he might want to curl his tongue a little bit because, of course, then again, Quentin don't give a fuck about nothing. So, yeah.
Well, I really do think that a lot of people, they get upset because anyone who criticizes Marvel movies, like that's something that's hard to do these days, right? Like, again, I saw someone today basically saying Tarantino needs to stay in his own lane. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Are you kidding me?
Like, stay in his own lane? Like, this dude has he is Hollywood royalty for a fucking reason.
For
you know
a
what
reason.
I mean? Like,
and it's mostly
that's what's going on.
And it's mostly the shit people are complaining about. The thing, his dialogue and his storytelling, and the fact that he would push the envelope, things like the gimp coming out of the sex slave with the rape. Oh, I shouldn't use that word, but you know what I'm saying. What happened in the pawn shop, like he was praised for those things. People were like, wow, and there's always a twist ending. And now people are coming at him for what he used to get praised for. And that's what kills me, because he is about the dialogue. He is about the story. He's a different kind of dude, let alone a different kind of director. Like he always has been. But when you look back at it, I hate to always bring up Sam Raimi, but when Hollywood really wanted to go for it on the comic book thing and said, can we really do this? I know we had The Crow, we had Blade, we had other things, but when the first Spider-Man came out, they went to a horror director. So because they recognized his potential for greatness if you gave him a big budget. I think Quentin's just like, he's just a different kind of director. And in this day and age, people will, we're in a world where people come back and dig up years tweets from 15 years ago and try to have you canceled for it. So they're going to come for you if you talk against Marvel, Matt. They just are, or DC or anything. And that's just how fandom is now. And I don't think Quentin, zero fucks. I don't think he cares, you know?
I don't think so. I don't think so either. He's like 60 years old. He can do what he wants. You know, but he says here, part of the Marvelization of Hollywood is you have actors become famous playing these characters, but they're not movie stars, right? Captain America is the star, or Thor is a star. I mean, I'm not the first person to say that. I think it's been said a zillion times, which famously, Anthony Mackie said this at a Comic-Con convention, not the Comic-Con, but a similar Comic-Con. Many, I think it was like, whatever, it doesn't matter. But like Ace Comic-Con or something. But either way, he said it many years ago, and nobody disagreed with him.
No, and
nobody disagreed with him on it.
And I get that's the only part with Tarantino I might disagree with a little bit. Like, look, I understand where he's coming, what he's trying to say, but at the same time, no one's going to tell me ScarJo isn't an A-list star. No one's going to tell me that Chris Evans or Chris Pratt aren't big time stars, or Zoe Saldana, the queen of sci-fi now. Okay, like no one's going to tell me that these people aren't stars. But I understand what he's saying. Like, it's Captain America is the star, but at the same time, you know, come on, Chris Evans is a star.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, but he's talking about like, look, Chris Evans is Captain America, absolutely, but like, look beyond that, and what does that mean? Like, look at, you know, Chadwick Boseman is T'Challa, right? But like, do people care about him being T'Challa, or do they care about him being Chadwick? Like, we never really got that opportunity with him because of his death, but it is something that kind of like the fact that Wakanda Forever very much used his real life death, how it happened, as a plot point in the movie. I thought that was a little bit on the inside.
It was a little too on the nose, but I think that
I get what they're going for, but still, I agree. It's just too on the
think that what's his face is a little too close to the project. You know?
Yeah, I get that.
What's
now,
his name?
Simu?
No, the director of Wakanda.
Oh, Ryan Coogler.
Ryan Coogler. I think he's a little too close to the project, and that's why it came out like that. I don't really.
Okay, McLeod. Anthony Mackie works and lives in that world. That's the difference. What world, dude? It's all the same world.
Yeah, and don't forget, like, Anthony Mackie's been in some other dope ass shit that wasn't comic book related. You know, I mean, he was great in 8 Mile. Like, Anthony Mackie's been in some shit.
Yeah, Zero Dark 30. He was in that one as well. I mean, he's done a bunch of small stuff for Netflix. You know, but the thing is, though, his bread and butter is playing Falcon. That's the reality of it. And like, no one else is going to play that role for a while, but that's what he's known for. He's known for playing Falcon. We might know him from other things because we live in this world. But the truth is like, no, Quentin Tarantino is not wrong. And that's the thing is Tarantino lives and works in movies more than Mackie does. Like you're talking about a 30-year career versus a 10, right? Or 20-year career. Right?
Yeah.
If he was an 8 Mile, right? But you're talking about experience in the field.
And I respect what Pratt has to, or not Pratt, Mackie and all those guys have to say. So I get where they're coming from. Yeah. But he's seasoned. That's the best way I can put it, man. This guy is.
Yeah, he's seasoned, and so is is Anthony Mackie. It's not to say the thing is though, but Mackie, like Tarantino says, a bunch of other people have said this too, because if you look at the trend of Hollywood, if you look at what's popular, if you look at what makes money, you can look at the top 10 highest grossing movies of every year, and what are they? They're generally comic book related or franchise related stuff. Is Mark Hamill or is he Luke fucking Skywalker?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the point, is like these movies the characters end up transcending who the actor is. Like some people can get around it. Like Harrison Ford is a good actor. We know him as Han. We know him as Indy. We know him as Richard Deckard. We know him as even Jack Ryan for 2 outings. He's done a bunch of franchise stuff. But he's also been in a bunch of other fucking movies and shit. You know what I mean? Like he's done a bunch of other iconic things. But the truth is that it's a business, and this is what they put in there now. But not everyone agrees. Simu Leo here did say, he's like, if the only gatekeepers to movie stardom come from Tarantino and Scorsese, I would have never had the opportunity to lead a 400 million plus movie. I am in awe of their filmmaking genius. They are transcendent auteurs, but they don't get to point their nose at me or anyone. No movie studio is or ever will be perfect, but I'm proud to work with one that has made sustained efforts to improve diversity on screen by creating heroes that empower and inspire all communities around the world. I love the Golden Age too, but it was white as hell. Now he's not wrong about that.
He's not wrong about the golden age of film, but he is wrong about Tarantino. Tarantino's one of the he's one of the first people to put diversity in his movies. What are you talking about?
Well, not one. Okay. Well, I mean, like, I know what you're trying to say,
he
but
frames
it's like,
everything off of the blaxploitation that he grew up on, Matt. You know what I mean?
So he does.
I mean,
he does. And he frequently works with Sam Jackson and everything else. And it's like, you know, he does, like, you know, Jamie Foxx and whatever. And again, here's the thing. If Simu Liu got a phone call from Quentin Tarantino, hey, do you want to be in my last movie? Yeah, he's going to fucking do it. Like, any actor in Hollywood would go work for Tarantino at the drop of a fucking hat, right? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, now, he got what's her name to come out of retirement? Jackie Brown, Coffee, big time black.
Oh yeah.
Symbol.
Well, so
what's
here's
her name?
Pam Grier.
Pam Grier. He got her to come out of retirement.
How'd you forget Pam Grier, motherfucker?
Because I'm high.
Man,
you know,
how do you forget? How do you disrespect Pam Grier on this show?
If you were here,
God damn it,
I would let you smack me in the
Blackula, fuck you up, dude.
Yeah,
fuck you up. All right, Jesus.
Foxy Brown. Yeah, I'm wrong for that shit. I'm wrong for that one, man. Damn.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, McLeod. Okay, Simu Liu claps at Tarantino, but here's the thing. I wanna show you guys this. This is a clap at Simu. I thought was interesting. This comes in from a guy named John Frankensteiner. He's got 40,000 followers. Okay. But he says, quotes this here and says, real actual gatekeeping is Disney sabotaging the release of Scorsese's Kundun, hiring Kissinger to assure the Chinese government it would die in a quiet death because Disney wanted to build theme parks there. Gatekeeping is not artists saying your movie sucks. And that right there is absolutely true.
Yeah, and I don't understand where he getting off calling Tarantino or Scorsese gatekeepers. They're not gatekeeping. They're not saying we don't want you making these movies. These movies belong to us.
Yeah, they're just saying like it's commercialized, and it's like, sure, they've done commercial work. Let's be fair. Their work is largely commercial in regards to, like, you know, when they were at their highest peak of popularity. But at the same time, it's not like they are saying don't make these movies. Scorsese called Marvel movies a theme park ride. He's not wrong, but I do think there's more depth to them than a theme park ride.
Yeah, there is.
You know, Tarantino.
I loved one of the few people that will admit it. I love Shang-Chi. It's one of the most fun movies of Phase 4 for me. It might be my favorite.
I really liked it. Yeah,
I like Simu Liu, but all this, you're still beating your chest like you just won some big fight in the UFC because you got 400 million on a movie that should have made about 800 million, bro. That's all I'm saying. Stop acting like you're this big time, I loved your movie, Simu Liu, but maybe you shut the fuck up. Maybe you just shut the fuck up for a while, because this is like the second time you've done this shit and accused people of gatekeeping and brought diversity into it and blah, blah, blah. And
well, okay, so let me, like, here's the thing with this, right? I think both things can be true simultaneously. Okay. So yes, Marvel has made strides to put characters of color on camera, behind the camera, to expand out those roles, which we will both agree is good. Right?
Yeah.
I
absolutely agree.
Yeah, no one's arguing against that. We're all fucking for it. Like, I think that, you know, if Mahershala Ali he's Muslim, and if you want to play up that, you know, if that's a big part of what they want to do with Blade, then hire a Muslim director.
If you want to make Blade a Muslim, I don't give a fuck.
Cool.
Just give me a good story, bro. I've been screaming this kind of shit since the 90s, okay?
Exactly.
That we need more diversity in film.
Yeah, we're all for it. We're all for it and whatever else here. But there is a fact that when it comes to the business side of these companies and how they will react to global politics, as well as social politics, is something worth kind of discussing. That is gatekeeping, when they are either approving or disapproving of something, or tanking something, or artificially inflating something as a way to do whatever, for whatever purpose, but they're the ones that are holding the keys. That's gatekeeping. Tarantino coming out and saying, like, hey, listen, these movies are like doing away with the actors. They're just playing characters, you know, and so it's kind of like, what, you know, that's like the Marvelization of movies. Well, I'm sorry, we might know who Simu Liu is. We might know his name is Simu Liu, but you're like, hey, what's like one movie do you know Simu Liu from? Oh, it's
Shang-Chi. That's it.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't Shang-Chi. Wasn't he? He was in Crazy Rich Asians, wasn't he? Was he in that movie?
See, I've heard about it.
I know he was in that convenience store show. Kim's Convenience in Canada. He did that show.
Yeah, I've never seen any
Like,
of that. So
yeah, no,
heard
I hear it's
Crazy
really fun.
Rich
I hear it's
Asians
really good. I hear it's really good, but
yeah, that's what I heard about Crazy Rich
Yeah.
Asians. But I'm also a guy who's never seen what's that one about? And I should watch it. Everyone tells me I should watch it about the little kid in India who gets to go on the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire show. It won all
oh,
sorts of
Slumdog Millionaire?
I've never seen it. I heard it's phenomenal.
Dude,
I've
fucking
never
great
seen
movie,
it.
man.
You know
Dev
what I mean?
Patel knocks it out of the park in that movie.
Yeah,
flat
so
out.
I need to watch that
Yeah.
too, you know?
Yeah. I was so weird that Slumdog Millionaire and The Curious Case of Benjamin Button came out at the same time.
And
Two
they're
va-
both really good.
Two vastly different films, but they're
Yeah.
both fucking phenomenal. And Slumdog won Best Picture.
Yeah, and from what everybody tells me, when people like Brodan and Mac tell me, "Oh no, Chris, it deserved that award," and I'm like, "Well, shit, now I gotta watch it because you guys are picky as fuck. You don't like anything, so it must be a good movie." You know, what I mean?
Slumdog is really, really, really good. It's really solid. Anyway, but like I think we both will agree here that like Simu Liu, I get what he's saying, but it's also like what he's saying is more gatekeepy than what they're saying.
Than what
And,
they're saying.
Look,
you
I
know?
love Marvel movies. I do. I'm gonna go see them all. Okay, I haven't seen fucking Eternals yet, but like I'm gonna watch them. And I enjoy them. But I also I think I'm at a place right now in my own personal life where I'm looking like I'm wanting to watch things that are just a little different. I'm just wanting to. I would rather like dive into something kind of under the radar or more avant-garde.
Well, for a Marvel movie, I could actually see you. This is gonna sound crazy, but with the takes you have on certain things and you don't really mince words, like if you don't like a movie, you come out and say it even though you know you're gonna get pushed back. I could actually see you liking Eternals, man. I really could.
I
And
have a
it's
feeling
really
when I sit
different.
down to watch it, I'm probably going to end up enjoying it. And
Yeah,
I'm
and it's
going
a
to be
really
like,
different style of Marvel movie, but I understand exactly
gonna-
what you're
I'm
saying.
going to have to fucking eat crow on that one probably.
Yeah.
Like, I finally watched it, you guys.
And
yeah,
I
it
can
was
just
pretty
see you liking
good.
it. I
Fuck.
especially the last 10 minutes. blew my
Yeah,
mind.
yeah.
Like,
I know. I
you know what I
gotta-
mean?
gotta
Like,
check-
but
I
it's
gotta
a
check
pretty
it out.
good movie. But you haven't even watched. Did you ever get around to watching Barbarian? Probably not. You're busy.
I
guy.
haven't had time.
It's
I think
okay.
my-
You're a busy guy. You're a
my
busy
kids
guy.
keep getting fucking sick, dude. Like even last night, my 4-year-old woke up puking again. You know, I'm waiting to see if she
that's
does it
messed
tonight.
up. You're at that
So,
point too, man.
yeah.
You got them. They're at that age, bro.
They're at that age
Oh,
to
man.
go to fucking school. It's just a petri
Yeah.
dish. But we did get $10 super chat here from Command Unit again. Thank you so much, buddy. Says context: during the constitutional crisis in Russia in 1993, Yeltsin abolished the parliament, and the parliament impeached Yeltsin. And the parliament building, called the White House, was shot and with tanks and stormed. Oh, that's what he's referring to. The tanks storming because you made the January 6th comment. And then he was talking about like tanks storming the White House. Like, okay,
Well,
I
yeah,
didn't know what that was. I literally thought that was like a fucking like an
I was just
RPG
joking.
reference.
No, the only reason I brought up January 6th is because I like how passionate you feel about the January 6th thing to the point that you were almost obsessed with it. That's how I am about
I'm
football.
not almost obsessed with it, but I just don't like disinformation surrounding it.
But
think
yeah,
that's my big
I-
issue.
And I don't know enough. I'm not educated enough about on the January 6th stuff to even have an argument with somebody about it. You know what I mean? Which I should be. I should care about that kind of stuff, and I do. I just hate to mix politics with especially with someone I like. We might get in an argument over it. I don't want to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, it's
yeah.
just-
No, I get you. I get you. I like to argue politics. I like to argue in general because I think it's fun. But I get very passionate very quick, which can be my downfall. H bars for 5 bones. Thanks, buddy. Says Eternals is a movie I trashed before seeing, but I was wrong. Oh, just like you did with Avatar. So let me know how it is when you watch Avatar and whether or not you like it or not. So I think that's something I will check out. I will check out Eternals, you guys. But listen, on that note, I have to go. I have to go to the bathroom so fucking bad.
Yeah, I'm gonna bounce out of here. And let you close your
It's
show.
yeah, it's running late. I'm just gonna kill it. So hey everybody, thank you so much for coming and hanging out tonight. Smack the like, you guys. Be sure to check out the Discord link in the video description. I'll talk to you all tomorrow night. Have yourself a great evening. Thanks a lot. Peace out.